Hi, good morning, friends. Good morning, and a very warm welcome to all of you in the the audit subject of the CPA program. And I can see a lot of people have joined in. Today is the first class of audit, and probably the first class for some of you in this entire program. You are probably starting with audit, and therefore this is your first ever class in the CPA program. So let's quickly do a round of introduction. Okay, let's get to know a little bit about each other, and and then we will get started. I will also, today is basically an introduction, class. Introduction as in not just introduction of each other, also introduction to the subject, right? So I will take you through what all is there in the syllabus, how you should approach this subject, and of course we will get started with the first couple of modules, and of course it will catch up pace from from the next class. But today is going to be an important class because, as I said, I'll introduce you to the subject. We'll cover a couple of modules, and that is going to form the base, start forming the base, I would say, for for the rest of the syllabus. And yeah, so before I speak any further, let's do a quick round of introduction, and I will call out the names based on based on how you are appearing on my screen, right? And could you just introduce yourself with your name, your location, are you a chartered accountant or not, and then if you are working, where you are working, and then is this your first subject? Okay, are you starting with audit, or have you done any other subject already? So these 4-5 things I need to know. I mean, most importantly, of course, most importantly, whether you're starting with audit or not, that's the most important question that I need to know. And then second maybe is, are you a chartered accountant or not? And if you're not, then there's nothing to worry. I mean, this is absolutely, don't get concerned about it, that why I'm wanting to know. I will tell you the reason why I'm wanting to know. Okay, in fact, if you're not, then I would say you are slightly at an advantageous position from one point of view. If you are a CA, then you are at an advantageous position from another point of view. Okay, so there are pros and cons to everything. So it doesn't really matter, but it's just good to know kind of information. Okay, so guys, let's get started. I will start on my screen. The first name that's appearing is Neha Dabolkar. Neha, can you introduce yourself? And if you are not able to unmute yourself, you can just write it in the chat box. Hi. Okay, no problem. If you can't unmute, because that is how this program is sort of structured, that participants are not able to unmute themselves. So it doesn't matter. You write it in the chat box. Okay. In fact, all of you can write it, and it will appear on the screen, and I will quickly probably go through it. So all of you can write, but just enter it like once you have put in all the information, so that it does not appear too many times. So please write your name, your location, are you a CA or not, are you working, if you're working, where are you working, and is this your first subject, are you starting with audit? Okay, so I've got Sriram, first class in CPA, and you're a BCom CA Inter, CS Inter, and you're from Bangalore, working as Deputy Group Manager in IBM. Wow. Welcome, Sriram. Okay. Neha Dabulkar, chartered accountant, working with Saraswat Bank for past 10 years, attending session from US, starting with audit. Very nice. Welcome, Neha. Subramaniam and Mohit, please give your full introduction. Okay, so in the meantime, I have Aditya Jain. Aditya, I have qualified CA Inter and looking forward to pursue CPA. I put up in New Delhi and I'm not working, currently self-employed. Okay, great. Warm welcome. All right, Subramaniam, location Chennai, chartered accountant in practice. Warm welcome. Very nice. And Aditya, you're starting with audit. Okay. Then I have Sachin. Okay. Okay, it's actually going up quickly. All right. So go back to those names later. Okay, so I have Indu Gupta, based in Gurgaon, CA, currently not working, have taken far back classes earlier. Okay, you've already taken far, that's good. And also back. And have you appeared for any exam? Rashmi from Rajasthan, recently qualified CA, starting CPA with audit and currently working with EY. Okay, and you are with EY, Gurugram, Rashmi? Jitesh, MCOM qualified and CA Inter, MCOM qualified and CA Inter, working as senior executive in the British Council. Okay, I'm from Delhi. Audit is my first subject. All right. Chandrakant Sigdal. Okay, good morning. I'm practicing chartered accountant from Kathmandu, Nepal. This is my first class of CPA. All right. Then SJ, this is Sanjana, MCOM, not a CA, working with Deloitte, offices of US. So you are with USI basically. So are you in audit or tax? Have passed back, preparing FAR and now attending audit as well. Oh, you're preparing FAR and attending audit. Okay. Anjali, name is Anjali Yadav from Delhi. Done MCOM and have 4 years of experience in credit risk, currently on career break, starting with audit. Okay, welcome Anjali. Vikash Bajaj, currently living in Pune, MBA Finance, working with 25 associates. Okay, as consultant, this is my second subject after BEC. However, did not appear for BEC yet. Okay. Warm welcome, Vikash. Mohit Srivastav, CA, ACMA, and CGMA. Okay. From Gurgaon, working in German JV, named as Mahle Filters. Okay. This is my second class. BEC was the first one. All right. Welcome, Mohit. Sparsh Gupta, currently living in Noida, qualification BCom, FAR was the first one, working with bank from past 8 years from Mumbai, and I'm a CS. Okay. Oh, sorry. So did I mix up? Okay. Yeah, because it's scrolling up too fast. I mean, you're. Okay, let me see if I can expand this. Yes. All right. Ashish Goyal from Gurgaon. I'm a company secretary working in a life insurance company as an assistant manager. Second subject after BEC. All right, great. Vineet Nangia, CA Vineet Nangia from Delhi, working in US-based MNC in renewable business, looking financial reporting and financial operations, automations. Wow. This is my first subject. I'm also certified ACCA, BRSR, DISA, commerce graduate. Wow. So you are probably the first person who is I know among the student group, I'm saying, who is also taking care of BRSR, right? So it's a right now I would say it's a niche and an upcoming, right? Very, very upcoming thing. All right. Welcome, Vineet. Mansi Gupta, Chartered Accountant from Gurugram, working with Deloitte USI in audit, completed with Beck, and now starting with audit. Okay, welcome. Kunal from Delhi, done MBA Finance. This is the first class. Himanshu Jha, MCOM and CA Inter, done FAR and Beck, currently in Gurgaon, currently working in tax consultancy firm. Okay, welcome Himanshu. Arjun from Rewari, this side, MCOM and CA working as an audit manager in Gurgaon in audit and taxation. This is my second class after financial reporting. Okay. So guys, those of you who have done FAR, have you done it live with me, or did you watch the recordings? Okay, in the meantime, I'll read the other one. Tejas Bhatt, working in Capgemini, done BCom and MBA, have taken back classes earlier, put up in Faridabad. Okay. Lipika Bansal from Panchkula, pursued MCom, attending FAR recorded lectures. Okay. Hi, Lipika. Chaitali, second subject, FAR was first, working with bank. Okay, so Chaitali I have already read. Sparsh Gupta, currently living in Noida, qualification BCom and MBA, audit is the first subject, working as revenue and billing executive. Okay, hi Sparsh. Aditya Soni have already gone through it, I guess. Aditya Soni, US, CA, not working, was previously working with Deloitte, 7 years of experience in tax mobility. Okay, I've not read it earlier, I've taken reg classes. Okay, hi Aditya, welcome. Urja Ahuja, location Faridabad, working as audit associate in EY for the last 2 years. Highest qualification is MCom, not CA, first, and this is your first class. Okay. Karan Verma, qualified chartered accountant, working with Bharti Airtel Limited in Gurgaon. This is the first subject. Okay. Mohit Srivastav, already done. Vikash, already done. Okay. Sanjana, you're in FP&A. Okay. Roshni, Roshni Jacob, CA Inter, US Audit Associate with Aldrich Business Services Private Limited in Navi Mumbai. Finished FAR and Beck, but not appeared for any exam till now. Plan to complete all classes and then appear. Okay. Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, Anjali Yadav, I've already gone through. Chandrakanta Singhal, I've already gone through. Okay, great. So Indu Gupta, still waiting for evaluation, will appear in Jan. Okay, Indu. Rakesh Kumar, done BCom and CA Inter from New Delhi. Own startup, started with audit. Okay. Okay, great. Rakesh, I'll probably chat with you later about your startup. I hope you're getting good, you have got a good start, on your startup. So we'll chat about it later. Okay, Rashmi, you're from Bangalore. Okay. Vipin Saharan. I'm from Delhi. I'm semi-qualified CA along with BCom and MCom, currently working in Tanisha Systems Inc., a US-based MNC. Okay, welcome, Vipin. All right, so then there is Arun V, not CA, first ever class. Okay, BCom, MCom, teaching accountancy and related subjects for about a decade, online and offline. I'm from Mysore. Okay, hi Arun. That's good to know that you are teaching accountancy. So what level do you teach, Arun? Is it school level or college level or professional level? Okay, in the meantime, Rashmi from Rajasthan. Okay, yes, I've already gone through. So Rashmi, you are EY. Okay, EY Bangalore. Okay. Swapan Chandra Das, Bangladesh. CA from Bangladesh, working in BRAC Bangladesh as DGM Finance, already completed Foreign Bank. This is the third. Okay, welcome, Swapan. Indu Gupta I've already covered. Hitesh Verma, already covered. Right, BCom from University of Delhi. This is the second subject, working in EY. Okay, Surbhi Agarwal, BCom Honors and CA, currently live in US. Starting my CPA journey with audit as the first subject. Okay, hi Surbhi. So I had another Surbhi Agarwal student. You know, she was in India when she was doing CPA. After completing, she migrated to Canada. So you are the second Surbhi Agarwal. And you are already in the US, right? Currently living in the US. Okay. So guys, what time is it for you guys? You are in the Eastern time zone, as in EST, I guess. What is the time right now, people in the US? Okay, Urja, I've already covered. Yes. Mansi Gupta, Chartered Accountant from Gurgaon, working with Deloitte USI. Yes, already covered. Ajay Agarwal, BCom Honors CA Inter, working in a tax consultancy firm. Audit is the first. Chaitali, I've already covered. Amit Mittal, practicing CA with 20 years of experience from Delhi, just completed BEC. Okay, great to know. Welcome, Amit. Aditya Soni already covered. Pratibha, semi-qualified CA, working with Net Zero Insights. This is my first class. I'm from Lucknow. Okay. Hi, Pratibha. Sachin, I had not covered. So my name is Sachin Kumar, Chartered Accountant, qualified in 2011, earlier in job, now practicing CA, based in New Delhi. Started far from recorded lectures from this November, 1st November. It is very systematic and exam oriented. Thanks. Okay, wow, that's good to know. Thanks, Sachin, for that nice feedback. Aditya, starting with audit. Subramaniam, Chennai, Chartered Accountant. Okay, I think I've covered everyone now. Yes, I've covered everyone. All right, so thank you all for your introduction. In case I have not covered anyone, please let me know. Okay, 1 second. Watching lectures with me, live with you. Okay, great. This is Pradeep Gupta from Delhi, done BCom and MBA, currently working as a financial advisor for one of the Australian MNCs in Gurgaon. Audit is the first subject. Okay, great. Welcome, Pradeep. Anil Kumar Sharma from Delhi, done BCom and MBA, currently working as a financial advisor for one of the Australian MNC. Audit is the first subject. Okay. So Pradeep and Anil, you guys are from the same firm, is it? Up to undergraduates. Okay, Arun, so you teach accountancy for up to undergraduates. Okay, okay, that's great. Swapan Chandra Das, sit for exam in February 2023. Okay. Keshav Saini, CA practicing in Gurgaon, will appear in Jan. So Keshav, you will appear for what in Jan? FAR? All right, Neha Dabolkar, it's 8:45 p.m. Okay, so it's not an unearthly hour, I would say, right? It's still manageable. Okay, great. Surbhi Agarwal in California, it's 5:45 PST. Okay, 5:45 p.m. Again, very, very manageable, I would say, right? Shilpa Jain, working with Kohler. Okay, CA Inter MBA, completed reg, took classes for BEC. Okay, great. So when you say completed reg, you mean, have you already like cleared the paper or just completed the classes? Mohan, good morning, sir. Mohan Reddy here from Mexico. Wow. BCom and CA Inter, currently working as tax consultant for Indian clients and as well as Mexico, so Mexican clients. Okay, great to have you, Mohan. So we have people from Bangladesh, Mexico, US. So it's an international audience, I would say, yeah, right? Global audience. Okay. Shilpa Jan just joined in. Okay. Indu Gupta done far live classes with you. Okay. So you've done live with me, Indu. That's great. Have you appeared for the exam? Like, have you cleared it? Keshav Sani from Gurgaon, Anil Sharma. Yes. Okay. Yes. We are from the same firm. Okay. Fine. That's nice to know. Because, I'm just saying that it's good that two of you from the same firm doing it. You'll be probably, be helping each other in the studies, and sometimes group studies really help, right? If of course it depends on a couple of factors, right? If you both are studying for the same subject, you both are planning to appear in the same month, and you both have a similar kind of pace, then and one can resolve the other's queries, so maybe you are strong in certain topics and the other person is strong in some other topics, and you like basically you complement each other very well, then group studies really help. Okay. Keshav Sani, far. So, okay. Shilpa cleared. Okay, that's nice. Congratulations. Arjun, what changes would be there from 2023 in CPA exams? Actually from 2024, most likely. But I mean, I will talk about it later probably we'll schedule a separate session for it, right? As of now, you don't have to worry. Whatever, you will like whatever we'll cover in the class, you just focus on that and you appear for the exam based on that, right? Yes, there are some major changes that are probably going to happen, but that is going to be effective from 2024. Clear, right? Before that happens, or maybe even more, because in 2024 also, when it will become effective, probably not right from Jan 1, probably later from April 1 or probably from July 1. So that is something we'll have to wait and watch. But right now you don't have to worry, right? Whatever we cover in class, that is going to be applicable for you. Okay. Aisha Bhalla, good morning. This is Aisha, CA from Delhi, working with Indian Highways Management Company Limited. Okay, Indian Highways. Okay, FASTag based company. All right. Attended and appeared reg. Audit is my second live subject and taking PEC recorded sessions. Okay, welcome, Aisha. Shilpa Jain, so one request, please take topic related MCQs in classes so that we can retain better. Topic related MCQs in classes. Yes, of course. Yes, we will do that. Ashish Khanna, BCom, CA Inter and MBA, currently working as assistant manager in RSM Institute Consulting Private Limited in Transfer Pricing Department. Okay. Welcome, Ashish. All right. Who else? What if we miss a live class? Then you will have to watch the recording, right? So recordings are normally available by Tuesday, right? Normally for the Saturday and Sunday class, they are available by Tuesday. So sometimes even earlier than that, but definitely by Tuesday, right? So you can watch them on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whenever it's convenient to you, but preferably before the next, class starts, so that you are, you are up to speed with what happened, when you missed it. Okay. So, all right, guys. So let's get started now. Thank you all for your introduction. Now, very quickly, the reason why I asked if you are a chartered accountant or not is only for this fact, for this reason, that if you are a chartered accountant, then you have done auditing standards, right, of India, or rather standards of auditing, like they call it here, essays, right? So you have done the auditing standards of India, and so that is sort of embedded in your mind. Now you have to unlearn to learn. By that, what I mean is, please don't start comparing Indian auditing standards with the US auditing standards. You have to just sort of erase from your memory the Indian one, and just learn fresh the US one that we are going to study in audit here. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, a lot of times what happens is because, you know, you have studied so hard for your CA, you know, you have probably done 3, 4, 5 revisions, and maybe you have taken 2, 3 attempts to clear CA final, and see audit in CA is extremely tough, right? So you must have done real hard preparation for it. So you are going to get the benefit of it indirectly, right? When you study for audit here for the CPA exam, you are going to get an indirect benefit of that, a huge advantage, I would say. But at the same time, I want to put a word of caution that if you don't unlearn what you had learned there, then you will be in a sort of in the exam, because see, and I say this even for FAR, that in the exam, obviously, you know, it's a time bound exam, the clock is ticking, you are under pressure that you should not leave out anything, right? So all that mental pressure is there, that stress is always there when you take the exam, right? That normal exam anxiety I'm talking about, and the pressure when you are taking the exam. Now, in that hurry of finishing the paper on time, you know, sometimes out of the 4 options, one of the options seems correct, and you immediately, you know, click on that option and you move forward to the next question, and so on. And later, after coming out of the exam center, you realize that that was the right answer as per the Indian, you know, Indian gap, if I'm talking about FAR, or that was the right answer as per Indian auditing standard, right? If I'm talking about audit, and that was not the right answer as per the US, you know, US gap, or as per the US auditing standard. So in that rush of completing the paper on time, you know, your mind, of course, recognizes that I've seen this somewhere, right? And you think, yeah, I've seen this somewhere, this is the right answer. But later, when you think with a cool mind, you know, you realize that that was the right answer as per the Indian standards, not as per the US standards. So, you know, I know a lot of students who have gone through this. Therefore, right at the outset, I want to put this as a word of caution, that please forget or erase from your memory what you have learned in your CA exams. Learn this afresh, you know, become a student all over again. Okay. And please don't compare between the Indian and the US, okay, till the time you are taking the CPA exam. Okay, please don't do that. It's going to harm you rather than help you. Yes, you have your entire life ahead of you. You know, once you become a CPA, you have the entire life, you know, to do the comparisons, right? But not right now, not till the time you, you know, sit for this exam and clear this exam. Please don't do any comparisons. So these are the couple of things. Of course, if you're not a CA, then obviously you have not done audit, right, so extensively as chartered accountant. So you don't have to worry about, you know, that aspect at least. Yes, for you, the word of caution, or not caution, but a general suggestion would be that, you know, you would probably have to study a little harder than chartered accountants, obviously, because you have never done this subject, right? And it is a difficult subject. Let me tell you right at the outset, audit is very different from the rest of the 3 subjects, right? Of course, FAR is extremely vast, right? The syllabus is like there are 10 chapters in FAR. Audit has only 6 chapters, right? But these 6 chapters are, I would say, equivalent to FAR or even more in terms of the way they ask questions. It's a very tricky paper, okay? And of course, audit is not just a subject, it is a profession. People make a career in auditing, right? So you can understand the importance of this subject. So audit, like I said, is a very tricky paper. And in audit, sometimes, right, you may have 2 right answers. Sometimes, okay? Maybe in out of 24 questions, maybe 1 or 2 questions would be like that there would be 2 right answers. And in that, obviously they are looking for the better answer. Which one is the better right answer, right? Or the best answer in the situation or circumstance that they have given. Okay, so sometimes this might happen in audit, which normally does not happen in any other paper. Okay, so it is not about the right answer alone. It is also about, in the situation or circumstance given in the question, which one is the better answer. You have to go for that. Okay, and we will do a lot of MCQs in class, and if we face any MCQ like that where there are two right answers, I will address it at that time. Okay, and so, okay, Arjun is asking, we would get benefit of our audit knowledge of CA and CPA, but also asking us to unlearn it. Well, basically what I'm trying to say, Arjun, is that, see, when you have gone through a subject already, you know how to approach that subject. You know the essence of that subject, right? An audit is an audit, right? Whether you do it in India for an Indian company, or you do it in the US for a US company, the essence is the same, right? So in that sense, what I mean is you will get an advantage because you know the subject already. You know how to approach an audit, what to do in an audit, right? So that part you know, and that's an advantage for you. But when I say unlearn, I mean the specific, requirements of the standards, because those requirements could be different in the US, right? So forget the specific requirements, learn the specific requirements of US is what I'm trying to say, because otherwise that can confuse you in the exam. Okay, so you will definitely get an advantage, but at the same time you have to be careful that you don't sort of get confused between the two sets of rules. Okay, so that way I'm saying. So okay, let me give a different type of example. It might sound silly, but if you know how to drive, in India, it will help you when you start driving in the US, right? It will help you because you already know how to drive. You're not driving for the first time ever in your life. You know how to drive, so it's going to help you definitely, right? But the rules are different, right? So they drive in the opposite direction and all that. So we have a right hand drive, they have a left hand, whatever, left hand, right hand, right? So you have to learn the new rules, and therefore you have to kind of forget the previous rules. Otherwise, if while taking a right turn, you might enter into a wrong lane, or while taking a left turn, you might enter into a wrong lane and can meet with an accident, God forbid. So that's what I meant. Okay, you know how to drive will help you in driving, but you have to learn the new rules over there. Lipika, is it more theoretical or practical based? Well, see, when we study audit, it's all theory. It's a theory subject when we study. But like I said, audit is not just a subject, it's a profession, right? People make a career out of it. So although the book is very, it's all full of theory, but the approach is very practical. Okay. The questions are also sometimes very practical. Like they'll give you a real scenario, right? And they'll ask you like a question based on that scenario. Okay, that means basically the approach is very practical, but when we study, it is all theory. I hope it makes sense what I just said. Like there are no questions to solve. Like in FAR, you have questions to solve, right? You have practical questions to solve. In audit, there are no such practical questions except in one or two topics where we will do we'll actually solve some questions mathematically, like in sampling and all that, statistical sampling, non-statistical sampling, just one or two odd topics where you'll actually solve, you'll have a practical question and you'll solve something. Other than that, it's purely theory. When we study for the subject, it's purely theory based, but the application is very, very practical. Okay, and you'll probably get to know when we start doing questions. Driving rules of US are a bit different from India. Exactly, that's what yes. If that is a question, the answer is yes. Indo, they drive in the opposite direction, right? So there's a left-hand drive, right? They're steering, the steering itself is on the left of the car. In India, we have the steering on the right, right? So the driver sits on the right. there the driver sits on the left, right? So it's opposite basically, right? So therefore, obviously, you have to learn how to drive in the US. So if you already know driving, then it's going to help you in some sense, but also sometimes it may confuse you which way should, because you're used to the Indian way of driving. So might confuse you as to which way should I go, unless you train your mind to think, every time that this is US and I have to go in that lane. All right. Yes, so that is what I was going to come to. Shilpa, should we expect amendments from January? Now see, 4.2 is the latest version in audit, right? 4.2. I don't know which book you have. You guys probably have 4.1, some of you. Some of you may be having 4.2. Now, if you have 4.2, right now we're going to start with that. In case there are any amendments that come up during the course, right? We will cover those amendments, just like we have done in FAR. So there's nothing to get worried about, right? Nothing to get panicked. This is a normal, part and parcel of this course or of this curriculum, that amendments keep happening, right? So if some amendments happen before you sit for your exam, we are going to cover those amendments. So nothing to worry. And even if there are amendments, there probably won't be too much of amendments, maybe just some minor amendments, because major amendments are going to happen from 2024, effective 2024, right? So like major, I would say, overhaul, almost like an overhaul of the subject. But right now, if there are any amendments, those would be minor. It's difficult if we cover amendments in the end while studying the old version. I understand that. But Shilpa, this is probably never ending, because see, either we wait for the amendments to come in and then start with the audit classes, which could be a month from now, which could be 2 months from now, which could be 3 months from now, because we don't know when the amendments are going to come. It's not a fixed thing that amendments come every year in April. It's not like that. Amendments can happen even during the year, right? So one is we wait for the amendments to come in and then start. But even then, there is no guarantee that there would not be any further amendments, right? So don't get disturbed or perturbed about the amendments part. It's a part and parcel of this. Study with based on what you have currently, right? Currently, we have a certain book in hand. We will study from that book. If amendments happen, we will go through the amendments. It's hardly going to take us maybe 2 classes or 3 classes to go through all the amendments, right? So don't get worried about it. Yes, what you need to do is, what you need to be sure about is that when you go for your exam, you need to know up to what date, like amendments of up to what date are being covered in that exam, right? And that is very clearly mentioned on the cover page itself, that this book is valid for exams from this date onwards, right? So you just have to ensure that you have covered all the amendments that are applicable to your exam whenever you are sitting for the exam. Now see, some of you might be attending classes now, but probably will sit for the exam in November 2023, right? There are certain students who would sit for audit like maybe in November 2023, but there are some students who will appear for audit in, let's say, March 2023, right? So, and between March and November, there could be another round of amendments that happen, right? So this is never ending. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. This is never ending. So all you need to ensure is whenever you are sitting for the exam, you have covered the amendments that are applicable for that exam. And we will be covering amendments, right, in case they happen during this period when audit is, going on, right? So while we are going through audit, if amendments come in, I will cover everything, right? I'll cover everything, all the amendments, just like I have covered in FAR. When amendments come in, can we study them as soon as we receive them? Yes, as soon as we receive them, as in when you say we receive them, all of you must receive. All of you must receive it. It should not happen that some of you have one version and some of you have another version. Then it becomes very difficult. So yes, if all of you receive the amendments, right, then we can definitely go through it. Not a problem at all. Asim, amendments only done in May, June every year, or is it throughout? Well, so Asim, that's exactly what I was saying, that, you know, it is uncertain. It is uncertain. Definitely amendments do happen once every year, but in some years, amendments could happen twice a year also. And in very rare circumstances, thrice a year. Very rare circumstances, maybe thrice a year. But that's rare. Generally, it is once a year, sometimes twice a year, right? So as of now, whatever latest material we have, we are going to start with that, because obviously we can't wait. We can't wait. And because it is uncertain, we don't know when the next amendments are going to come. So we can't wait indefinitely, right? So whatever material we have, all of you have, we'll start with that. Because joined a couple of minutes late. If you could share your brief introduction. Yes, I will do that. I have not yet done that, right? I will introduce myself in just a bit. If so, Pratibha is saying, if amendments come after the class, how we will come to know, and will there be separate class for it? So Pratibha, yes, if let's say if we are done with audit here, like live classes get over, and like I said, if you are appearing, let's say someone is appearing in November 2023. Now these classes are going to end in March, I guess, right? As I hope everybody has got this schedule, right? So these classes are going to end probably in Feb end, towards the Feb end, towards the end of February, or probably in the month of March. I'll have to check the schedule. But the point is, yeah, it will get over sometime during February, March time frame. And let's say you're appearing for the exam in November, right? So in that case, and if there are amendments that come in between, in that case, we will definitely cover the amendments, right? You will be, of course, you will be informed by the admin team that amendments, that there are amendments, and you will also get to know the moment you open the software. You know, the software is going to basically a screen is going to pop up, which is going to tell you that that a new version has come in. There are certain amendments, right? And they also normally have the PDF of the amendments in the software itself, right? So you will have all that information with you. And as far as classes are concerned, yes, we can cover the classes, like we can cover the amendments in separate classes, right? So that is not an issue. Urja, is it advisable to give one exam per quarter or all at once? And Ajay is asking, can we appear in April itself? Okay. Urja, it is absolutely, you know, there's no rule as such, right? To each his own. But since, you know, you're asking for an advice, I would say, yes, one exam per quarter is a good idea. So you can, you know, you can pay, you can space and space, right? You can space it out and you can pace yourself accordingly. So yes, it's a good idea. Only thing is that my only, you know, suggestion would be that if you are going for audit, then please make sure that you have already done FAR, right? You have at least attended the FAR session, lectures completely. And then, you know, you go for the audit exam. Don't sit for the audit exam without going through FAR, because in audit, sometimes they ask you FAR related questions, right? So they make journal entries in the audit exam. Sometimes you are auditing the financial statements, right? And financial statements have been prepared under US GAAP, like, right? So here, obviously, they have been prepared under US GAAP. So you need to have knowledge of US GAAP. You need to have knowledge of how the financials have been prepared, because ultimately you're auditing those financials. So I mean, logically speaking, also, you need to have knowledge of FAR before you sit for the audit exam. Okay. So I just said, Arjun, I just said that one exam per quarter is a good idea. And the second thing I mentioned was the order in which you should take the paper. and I'm just right now restricting myself to FAR and audit. So between FAR and audit, if ideally you should take the FAR exam first and then the audit exam, right? Ideally. But if you're planning to take the audit exam before FAR, that's also fine. Only thing is, make sure that you have gone through all the FAR lectures. You have gone through the entire FAR syllabus before you sit for the audit exam, right? Yeah, because audit is closely linked to FAR, and sometimes in the audit exam, they ask you FAR related questions, right? They have even asked some students to make journal entries in the audit exam, right? So if you have not gone through the FAR paper, then it might be difficult for you to attempt certain questions. Okay. Any other question, guys, before I start? Okay, no more questions. Fine. So what I'll do is, see, since you have asked me about amendments, what I'm going to do is, like I said, amendments are expected sometime soon. Okay, amendments of audit are expected sometime soon, but we are like, the exact date of when you will receive it is not known, because when the amendments happen, after that, they ship the books to India, like the physical books, they will ship it to India, right? And based on how many of you are there, admin team will collect that data and then inform Becker. Then Becker will accordingly ship those many books, right? So if there are 20 students who need the book, or there are 30 students who need the book, then obviously, the admin team will inform Becker to send only 30 books, 30 sets, right? And so they will ship it. Then that shipment takes about 15-20 days, 25 days, sometimes a month to reach. So after the amendments come in also, probably you will have the physical book, the hard copy with you 1 month after that, right? Of course, the software will get updated and you can see the latest version in the software, but physical book will come to you probably after a month, right? So that's why what we are going to do is, we are going to start with whatever we have in hand. When all of you receive the physical book, the hard copy of the book with you, then we can switch to that new book, right? From that topic onwards. And the topics that we have already covered from this older version, it will become old that time. Right now, this is the latest, but once the new one comes in, this will become old. So the topics that we have already covered from the old one, we will cover the amendments of those topics, right? Right? New ones, of course, we will cover straight from the new book, but the older ones we will cover through amendment classes. And do we have to learn standard number also? No, you don't need to learn a single standard number. And if you see the book, there is hardly any mention of any standard number. Okay, so numbers are not important. And the same thing I say for FAR also. In FAR also, you don't need to know the number. Okay, the accounting standard codification, the numbers you don't need to know. Which software? The Becker software, Vineet? Vineet, so okay, you're new to the group. This software we are talking about, the Becker software. So I'm sure you have got the access to the Becker software. And I'm also going to run you through the Becker software, because a lot of you are taking audit for, like, this is your first subject, first class ever in the CPA curriculum. So I'm going to take you through the software also in just a moment. Okay. Overall of CPA syllabus in 2024. Well, Arjun, we have done sessions on that, like long time back when we got to know about what is going to change. We had done like a special session talking about the changes. So maybe you can ask the admin team to share the link with you. And after that, there is no further update, right? After that session, once we had done that session, there's no further update. So there's nothing new for me to share with you, except that you can go through that link and see what we had discussed at that time. And also, just to give you a comfort level, see, the 2024 updates are going to be effective from some time in 2024, not from Jan 1 2024 itself, but sometime during 2024. So you have at least more than a year, and maybe more than 1.5 years before those changes come into effect. So you need not worry right now, right? And as soon as we get information about the changes with the students again, right? Whatever information we had at that time, and basically, let me just quickly tell you, the overall information that we had was that there are some changes that are going to happen uh, in audit and BEC, right? So FAR and reg are not going to be impacted much. FAR and reg are pretty much going to remain the same. Audit and BEC are going to be impacted by these changes, right? And basically, what are the changes? They are introducing a lot of technology related topics, right? Because, of course, the entire world is going digital, right? So, it is important for finance professionals to also learn about technology, so that you can become fintech professionals, sort of. So they are introducing a lot of technology related topics in audit and BEC. Okay, that's all we know right now. We don't know the exact specifics, what topics, to what extent they are going to introduce them, to what level of difficulty will it have, will it include programming or not. We don't know all those details right now, right? But in any case, whether they introduce those changes or not, I think it is good for all finance professionals to learn technology now, because everything in the world is getting digital and getting is driven by technology. So now the future is either it is going to be technology or at least technology enabled, right? So in either case you need to know technology. So it is always a good idea to upskill yourself and maybe learn programming, right? Whether CPA syllabus introduces it or not, it's always a good idea to learn technology now. So maybe you can learn programming, maybe you can do data analytics, a separate course on data analytics, you can do a separate course on robotics process automation, you can do all those stuff anyways. It will be good for your career. Yes, the one of the prerequisites probably for doing a course on programming would be that your basic maths and stats should be very strong, right? Your basic maths and stats. And correct me if I'm wrong. If any of you have already done programming, correct me if I'm wrong. You don't need to know advanced mathematics, right? But you need to have your basics extremely strong. That means up to class 10th level maths has to be very, very strong. And your stats also has to be very strong. And, preferably your Excel skills have to be very strong, right? If you have these three things in place, then you can start off with programming. You can start learning programming. What I know, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody of you have done it already. Like Vineet, you are saying you are doing robotics, BI and VBA, right? Visual Basic and Power BI, right? So if you're doing that, you can share your experience or your learnings with all the students here. That it would be nice for everyone to know. Okay, from where you can do robotics course, there are many institutions that are providing this. You go to Coursera, go to Udemy, right? And you will find a lot of universities offering courses on these. Okay, Arjun. All right, guys. So if there are no further questions, I will start. So Chaitali, you are saying audit related IT. Yes. So audit related IT, which is to some extent, it's already there in the book right now, audit data analytics and all that. So to some extent it is already there, but probably they're going to introduce some more topics, and, and they're going to be like more extensive. in the, from 2024 onwards. Any possible future exemption for CA qualified people in CPA, just like we have in ACCA? No, Arjun, I don't think so, because CPA is one exam where, there are no exemptions as such, in the sense that whether you are a BCom or a PhD, everybody has to take these 4 papers, right? So I don't think that there will be any exemption for chartered accountants in the CPA exam. And I have a kind of a take on it, right? I may be wrong, but I have a certain take on this issue of having exemptions. See, my take on this is, and like I said, I may be wrong, but my take on this is that, if you are going through all the 4 papers, you're sitting for all the 4 exams, right? Just like any other CPA is, you're not getting any exemption. That means you will be treated at par with all other CPAs, when it comes to getting a job, right? So for example, let's say you are an Indian chartered accountant and you get exemptions in the Canadian CPA, right? You just have to appear for 1 paper and you become a member of the, the Canadian Institute. Similarly, you take just 1 paper and you become a member of the Australian Institute, right? Now, what happens is, since you have not taken all the papers, you have just taken 1 paper and you've got the membership of, and it's vice versa, an Australian CA, right? An Australian CA or Australian CPA, if there's an MOU with Accountants of India, that guy also becomes a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, right? By virtue of this MOU, just like you become a member of their institute by virtue of this MOU. But you have not gone through all the papers that exam has. So what happens is, if you're, let's say, applying for an Australian company, applying for a job in an Australian company, and let's say there are 2 applications. One is of an Australian CPA who has taken all the papers, right? And then there is one candidate who is just a member of the Australian Institute by virtue of the MOU. That person has not taken, all the papers. In fact, that person has only taken 1 paper and not taken any of the other papers. So what will this Australian company do? Who will they hire, right? If there are 2 applications, one is of an Australian CPA and one is of a member of, an Indian CA who is also a member of the Australian Institute by virtue of MOU. Who will the Australian company hire? Logically speaking, the Australian company would hire the Australian guy, the Australian CPA. Okay, think of it from an Indian point of view also. There's an Indian company, there's 1 finance position in the company, 1 finance and accounting position in the company, and there are 2 applications. One is of an Indian chartered accountant, and one is of, let's say, a CA from, I'm just randomly taking a name, maybe a CA from South Africa, who is also a member of ICAI by virtue of MOU between ICAI and the South African CA Institute, right? So 1 application is of an Indian chartered accountant, 1 application is of a member of ICAI, but he has become a member by virtue of an MOU. He has not taken all the papers of CA. Which candidate will the company hire? It's an Indian company, finance and accounting department, 1 position, 2 applications. Which person the Indian company will hire? Logically speaking, the Indian company will hire the Indian chartered accountant, right? Because that guy has the knowledge of the regulatory environment, the legal environment. Of course, that person knows the Indian taxes, that person knows Indian GAAP, the Indian, accounting standards, Ind AS, all of that, right? So logically speaking, the Indian company will hire the Indian chartered accountant. So same thing applies to any other country, right? If you get exemptions in CPA, if you just have to take 1 paper and you become a CPA, whereas another guy has appeared for all the 4 papers, and both of you apply for the same position, who will the company hire? The person who has appeared for all the papers, right? Not the person who has appeared only for 1 paper and has become a member of, of the institute by virtue of an MOU, right? So this is my take on it. I may be wrong, but I think as the hiring manager or as the employer, the hiring manager would always prefer someone who has gone through the entire curriculum and has appeared for all of that course, rather than somebody who has just appeared for one paper and has become the member, right? So this is very, I think it is very commonsensical and very logical. Most employers would probably think the way I am thinking, and therefore they would give preference to someone who has appeared for all the papers. So when you appear for all the papers, you are actually treated at par with any other CPA. You are not seen differently at all. So it's actually a good thing if you're appearing for all the papers. Exemption is not really a good thing. Exemption is just to just to write on the CV that you're also a member of the Canadian Institute, you're also a member of the Australian Institute, you're also a member of whatever, South African Institute. You can write in your CV that you're a member of these many bodies. But actually, practically, when you apply for a job, you will not be given a preference over someone who has done the full-time course with covering all the subjects, right? Vineet is saying, what is the best practice? Can we do one course regular and one through recorded? On that, two subjects are ready in parallel. Yes, depending on how much time you have in hand, you can definitely do it. Right? Of course, these are all heavyweight subjects, right? FAR is extremely heavy. Audit is extremely heavy. Reg is also moderately heavy. And BEC is the only subject I would say that is slightly light. Right? So you can mix and match in such a way that if you at all have to do two subjects, you can mix and match in such a way that you do one heavy subject and one light subject, or maybe one practical subject and one theoretical subject, right? So do your mix and match in such a way that it doesn't get boring and it doesn't get it's not too much for you to handle. See, best combination from a knowledge point of view is FAR and Audit, because they are closely linked to each other. But FAR and Audit, both of them are extremely heavy. So it is not probably a good idea to pick FAR and Audit simultaneously, right? So if you're saying what is the best combination, my answer would be different in terms of the linkages to each other. FAR and Audit is the good combination. But if you have to pick up two subjects, maybe FAR and Audit is not a good combination because they are very heavy. Both of them are very heavy. So if you are planning to pick up FAR and Audit together, then you have to make sure that you have a lot of time in hand. Right? If you are a working professional, then picking FAR and Audit together is not a good idea. Okay, so if you are sitting at home, like studying only for this exam, then maybe yes. Okay. Then, another, of course, if you pick FAR and Audit, then obviously it's left with Reg and BEC as a next combination, right? So once you have cleared FAR and Audit, then the Reg and BEC combination probably is going to look, easier to you, because those are not as heavy in terms of the breadth and depth of the syllabus. They are not as heavy as FAR and Audit. So it might seem simpler at that time. Okay, Ajay Agarwal, FAR and Audit, like I have already answered that, Ajay. If you have enough time in hand, then FAR and Audit. Otherwise, you can pick FAR with a lighter subject or Audit with a lighter subject. Daily basis, how much? Again, depends on, there is no standard rule, depends on person to person. So I would not say how much time. I would answer this question in a slightly different way, is that you should get 90 at home before you schedule your exam. Okay, now, how do you reach 90? I will just talk about it. And secondly, how soon would you reach to 90 is totally up to you. Some people reach 90 in 3 months time. Some people take 6 months to reach 90. Right? So it totally depends on how much time you're able to give, how much other commitments you have, right? But like I said, the bottom line is schedule your exam. And this is my personal suggestion, right? Just my personal suggestion. It is not a suggestion of Becker or anything. It is my personal suggestion that once you reach 90 at home, only then you schedule your exam, not before that. A lot of times what happens is students get 70, they get 75, 80 at home. So they think, 75 is passing. I'm getting 75, 80. That means I'm ready for the exam, right? That is what the student think. Now, what happens is, in the exam, in the actual exam, if you're not lucky, you might end up at 73 or even 74, right? Because you're at home, you were getting 76, 77, and that was your home, right? And you're always more comfortable at home. It's right. Exam situation, a lot of people get tensed just by the fact that they are taking an exam, right? Uh, so if you're getting 77, 78 at home or 80 at home, you can easily slip to 72, 73, 74 in the actual exam environment, right? And obviously that is going to be really frustrating, that after studying so hard, if you end up getting 74, it's going to be frustrating, right? So that is why my personal suggestion is, if you are crossing 90 at home, then you have a good, margin. You have a buffer of 15 marks, so to say. So even on a bad day, even if you are not lucky on the day of the exam, you will still clear it because you have a buffer, right? You have prepared that you were scoring 90 at home, and that means 75 should not be a problem at all, right? And this is what I suggest to all the students, and those who follow this suggestion generally clear it in the first attempt, right? So please don't schedule your exam before you score 90 at home. Okay. Next question: if we are doing US GAAP reporting as part of job currently, I didn't get your question, Vineet. So you're saying if, what do you mean? So if you're doing a US GAAP reporting job, then can you pick up FAR and audit together? Is that your question? Okay. In the meantime, Arjun is saying, for working professionals, what is recommended daily studies suggested for revision and preparation? Please explain the percentile system followed in CPA, followed by for exam results. Okay. So Arjun, first is recommended study is at least 2 to 3 hours every day, right? 2 to 3 hours every day, if possible. And that depends on your work schedule. But yes, you should try and find out 2 to 3 hours every day. And of course, more on the weekends, right? Weekends, anyways, we'll have 4-hour classes. And then you will also have to study for another 4, 5, 6 hours, right? So weekend, you must catch up if you have missed out on the weekdays, right? And so this I'm saying, people who are studying 2-3 hours during weekdays should also study 4 to 6 hours on weekends. And if you have missed out on the weekdays, then of course you have to make up for that also during the weekends, right? So then of course your weekend hours will increase, to that extent. Okay, so 2-3 hours on a daily basis, 4 to 6 hours on weekends, and you should be ready in about 3 to 4 months time with this kind of schedule. Okay, but like I said, it is to each, to each his own. It depends on your, certain other factors, like whether, like I said, whether you are a CA or not, because being a CA will help you to a large extent, right? It will help you to a large extent. And how much, whether you are working, whether you have family, like are you married, do you have kids, all those things will come into the picture. It all boils down to the thing that how much time you're able to commit and give to this, right? Ideally speaking, while you're taking CPA exams, you should forget about your social, all your social obligations at least. Of course, family obligations you cannot sort of avoid or ignore, but social obligations you should absolutely cut down on your social activities, and you should just focus on studying, right? Ideally, absolutely, if I talk about the ideal scenario, every minute that you get outside your office hours and absolute necessity to do at home, absolute necessary things, every minute you should spend only on studying. That is what this course demands. Okay, it is not an easy course. It is not very difficult also, but at the same time, it's a professional exam. It is the highest accounting credential in the United States, right? So it demands certain level of commitment. Okay, if you take it easy, then it's going to be difficult. If you really sincerely dedicate time, it is not difficult. Okay. So we need your question. If you're doing US GAAP reporting as part of your job, then it is definitely going to help you. It is definitely going to help you in FAR at least, right? Uh, but yes, should you do FAR and audit together? Depends on the time. Like I said, it depends on the time that you have in hand. All right, guys. So now let me do one thing. Let me quickly typing speed. Okay, would typing speed matter for exam? No, typing speed would not matter. Would not matter at all. Typing speed would not matter at all because you have MCQs and you have TBS, task-based simulations. Now MCQs are obviously you just have to click on the right answer, right? You don't have to type anything, right? Even in the TBS, in like 99%, you will have to select something. 99% you will have to select something, right? So there will be a drop down menu. Once you click on that drop down twisty, the list will open up, right? And you will have to click on one of the choices that list is giving you, right? In most cases, that is what happens. In FAR, of course, in FAR, what happens is that if they give you journal entries, then let me share the screen actually and show it to you. Just one second. So in FAR, sometimes what happens is they give you journal entries. Okay. I hope everybody can see the screen. Can everybody see the screen? Yeah. So, they'll give you a journal entry and there'll be boxes like this. And this I'm talking about, this is part of the task-based simulation. Okay. Now they've given you boxes like this. So obviously there is a drop-down menu over here. You click on this drop-down menu and it opens a small list of debit and credit. That's it. One line is debit, one line is credit. Which one do you want to select? So for let's say this top one, you select debit. So debit will appear over here. For the second one, you select credit and credit will appear over here. So you are only selecting, you're not even typing dr dot. You're not even typing dr dot, you are selecting that also. Similarly, what account do you want to debit? There's a drop down twisty over here. When you click on this twisty, a list will open up and that list will give you 4-5 options, right? So you click on, let's say the second option, you click on this option and that will get auto populated here. It will get auto populated, right? So let's say if this was, let's take any example, salary, debit salary. So this will automatically get populated. You don't have to type the word salary. You just have to select it. Similarly, here you click on the drop down twisty. It will open another list. It might open the same list, right? One account to be debited, one account to be credited, right? So that means if you have debited the second line here, maybe you are going to credit the fourth line here, if that is the right answer, and that will get auto populated. Or it might be a separate list and you'll have to select from that list, right? So there's no typing, right? Only the amounts you need to type. If this is $100,000, you need to type 100,000 over here. That is the only typing that is involved, right? And in audit exam, unless you get journal entries in the audit exam, there is no typing in audit at all. Unless you get journal entries or anything where you have to input the figures, the numbers, right? Apart from that, everything is going to be based on some selection, right? So it is basically the use of the mouse and no typing involved. Yes, in BEC, of course, those of you who have appeared for BEC, you would know there's written communication section. In written communication, you have to type, right? So that's only one small part of the exam, right? Is that uh, is that clear, Arun? Okay, now Arjun, next question. So please explain the percentile system. Okay, I'll do that. Vineet, why there is no option to speak in this training? Because of bandwidth issues, right? Because if all the participants start speaking, it's going to slow down the class. Okay, that's the only reason. So, therefore, if you have any doubts, you can write it like people are writing here, or you can note down your doubts and you can separately WhatsApp, directly WhatsApp it to your doubts to me, and I'll come to that part. I'll come to the doubt solving and query part in just a while. Okay. Polisetti Venkata. Okay, hi Polly. Joined a bit late. For first recorded lectures or proceed with currently going audit? Okay, so like I said, and since you joined late, I will repeat it quickly. Audit, if you're taking audit, like if you're attending the audit classes for the first time and you're doing audit as the first subject in CPA, then my only suggestion is, and it's a very important suggestion by the way, is that before you sit for the audit exam, you must at least go through all the FAR lectures, right? That is the bare minimum you need to do. Before you sit for the audit exam, you have to go through the FAR lectures at least once. Okay, you have to go through the entire FAR syllabus at least once. Okay, that's the bare minimum requirement, because in audit, they ask you FAR related questions, not too much, but yes, we have seen in the past that some students have got journal entries in the audit exam, right? So obviously you need to have good knowledge of FAR to be able to attempt those type of questions. And also, generally speaking, it is generally speaking also, it is definitely good to go through FAR, for audit, because at the end of the day, what are you auditing? You are auditing the financial statements, right? And the financial statements have been prepared under US GAAP. So obviously, if you're auditing something, you need to know how those financials have been prepared, right? So it's always a good idea to go through FAR, before you sit for the audit exam. All right. What about if it's a balance sheet preparation? You mean in the audit exam? In the audit exam, they are asking you to prepare a balance sheet. In the FAR exam, okay. In the FAR exam, if they ask you to prepare a balance sheet in simulations, there also, if they ask you to prepare a balance sheet, there will be drop down menus, like drop down menus. Yes, you have to select the items from the drop down. Only the amounts you'll have to key in. You'll have to type in the amounts. Okay, Lipika? Okay. So I guess I've answered all the queries except one query of Arjun, where you want to understand the percentile system. I'll cover that quickly. And why it would slow down? Because Arjun, because if everybody starts speaking, it is going to obviously consume more data. It's going to consume more data, right? And therefore the class might slow down. And of course, there might be, people talking simultaneously and all that stuff. So, and also there could be a background noise, right? Depending on where you are sitting. So there are many, sort of considerations, because of which they have kept the audience, this thing mute. For query solving, what we are going to do, what approach we are going to take, I will talk about that quickly. Okay, so here, let me share the screen one more time. You said percentile system. So see, basically how the percentile system works is, it is a 75 percentile, right? 75 percentile, that means If you're on the 75 percentile and above, you will pass. You will be declared as pass. This is not 75 marks in the exam. This is not the marks in the exam. This is the 75th percentile and above, right? That will make you pass. Now, what that really means is that you have to be in the, basically you have to be in the top 25 percentile. 75, passing 75 means you have to be in the top 25 percentile. That means basically if, let's say, 1,000 students have appeared for the exam, 1,000 students have appeared for the exam, the top 250 students, the top 250 will be declared as pass. Okay, the next 750 will not be declared as pass. Now, the top 250 scores will be pass. That means if, let's say, 2 people have got 99, 7 people have got 98, 10 people have got 97, 15 people have got 96, and like this, 250 gets over at 85. That means if you scored 85 and above, you are in the top 250. If you scored 85 and above in your exam, you are in the top 250. That means you are in the top 25 percentile, you will be declared as pass, right? On the other hand, it could also happen that it was a very tough exam, right? Let's say one person got 99, one person got 98, just 2 people got 97. It was a very tough exam. And finally, the 250 number at 70. That is also possible. That means if you got 70 and above, you are still in the top 250. You will be declared as pass. Okay, so understand this, that your marks are very different than the result that you will ultimately get. So in the first example, if you got 85, in the first example that I gave, if you got 85, when you get your result, it will show 75. Right? In this example, in the second example, even if you got 70, your result will show 75. Is that clear? Okay, is that clear, Arjun? So this is how the percentile system works. You have to be in the top 25 percentile. That means out of 1,000 students, you are in the top 250 students. You are in the top 250. That top 250 could end at 85. It could end at 70. It could end at 90. It could end at any score. You will never get to know your actual score. They will never disclose the actual marks to you. They will only disclose this to you. 75 or 76 or 77. But that 75, 76, 77 is not your marks. It's the percentile. Okay. What else? What is authoritative literature? Well, we will cover it. Don't worry, we'll cover authoritative literature. Do you mean when I mentioned the ASC number? Accounting Standard Codification? Because I mentioned this word, I have not mentioned authoritative literature yet. So I'm wondering, where are you asking this question from? Nothing wrong with the question. Question is absolutely valid, but I have not even covered this. I've not even uttered this word. So yes, I did mention Accounting Standard Codification when I was talking about, when I think somebody asked whether we need to know the numbers. So that is the time I mentioned you don't need to know the numbers, right? Even in the FAR paper, you don't need to know the Accounting Standard Codification numbers, right? And in audit also, you don't need to know the numbers, right? There are numbers, of course, AU-C 900, AU-C 920. Of course, there are many numbers, but you don't need to know these numbers. In fact, in the book, there are no numbers mentioned also. right? And people who have done reg, you would know what I'm talking about, that in reg, regulation, which is basically all laws, there are sections, right? But there are hardly any sections mentioned in the entire book of reg. Only the ones which are very, 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 very important, like 1231, 1245, 1244, 1245, 1250. Just about 4 sections mentioned in the entire tax part of regulation. Am I right? There are no high court cases, no Supreme Court cases, right? So it is not like a CA exam where you have to remember all the sections, all the subsections, you have to remember all high court cases, Supreme Court cases. This exam is not like that, right? So in that sense, it's easy, it's an easier exam, but it is also difficult in another sense, right? Because it is MCQs, and MCQs are very, very pinpointed. See, in essay type questions, what happens is you know something about it, right? So in essay type questions, the question has asked you, what is this? What is this? And you know something about it. So you, in the answer, you write something. And even if you write something, you get some marks, right? So if it's a 10-mark question and you've written something, you will at least get 2 or 3 out of 10. Right? I'm just saying. But in MCQ, you either know the exact right answer or you don't, right? I mean, either you will get full marks or you will get 0. It's either 0 or full. There is nothing in between. In essay type, there is something in between. You will not get a 0. If you write something, you will get some marks at least, right? So in that sense, MCQs are more tough because you have to know the exact answer. Otherwise, you will get 0. Right? So your knowledge has to be absolutely to the point. That is the, difficult part of MCQs. Okay. So will you be teaching from 4.1 version? I will be teaching from 4.2 version, right? I'll be teaching from the 4.2 version. I think some of you have 4.2, some of you don't have. If you don't have, again, like I said, nothing to worry. If you don't have, when you get 4.2, you can then match with what we have covered. Like, are there any changes or not? You will be easily able to match that, right? When you get your 4.2 version, right? And whether a 4.3 is going to come anytime soon or not, that's a big question mark, right? And I've already discussed about that, that in case a 4.3 comes, we will cover those amendments also, right? So amendments will be covered. You don't have to worry about it. Yes, I know sometimes it is difficult to sort of switch from one version to another because you may have made notes in your book and then now you get a new book. So do you have to copy all the notes in the new book or not? Practically, yes, it might create a little bit of a problem for you. I understand that, and I totally empathize with you on that, but there is no other option. Trust me, there is no other option. We can't wait for a 4.3 to come. We don't know when a 4.3 will come, right? Whether it will at all come or not before your exam or not, right? It may not even come before your exam. Like, and the other problem is that this is not a fixed date exam. It is not like an Indian exam where, it is happening twice a year and everybody is taking the exam during that time. It's not like, May and November or June and December, that exams will happen only twice a year. Right? It's not like that. Here, exam can be taken anytime. So if there are 200 students, those 200 students can take exam, in 200 different dates. Right? So there is no way for Becker also to track which student, is appearing for the exam at what time, and therefore like based on that, should we give that student the material which will be applicable in that exam, right? It's not possible for Becker to keep a track of that. You have to understand the practical challenges, right? And it's not just 200 here, over here. It's probably thousands of students taking the exam all over the world, right? And every student is taking at a different time. So how is Becker going to keep a track of which student is going to take at what time? In fact, the student himself or herself does not know. Like, you may have some date in mind that I plan to take it in this month. Even that may not be final from your end, right? So even the student himself or herself does not know when they are going to take the exam. How is Becker going to know? You're getting my point. So obviously they will give the material to you based on your enrollment time. Whenever you have enrolled for the exam, whatever is the latest material at that time, they have handed over that material to you. Now whenever amendments come, they put the PDF of the amendments in the back in the software, so you need not go for the new book. You can just look at the PDF of the amendments, right? And then quickly make a note of those amendments in your book, or you know uh, yeah, in your book or wherever you have made your notes. So it's just being, you have to just be a little methodical about it, and that's it. It's not such a big challenge that that cannot be overcome. Okay. uh, so Ashish, I'll be teaching from 4.2, right, to answer your question. I saw that on the Becker blog. Okay, the authoritative literature thing. Okay, fine. So Chinmay, don't worry, we'll cover authoritative literature, right? Basically, authoritative literature in FAR means the accounting standard codification, right? That is the authoritative literature. And in audit, it means the SAS, right? The standards, basically the auditing standards, right? Statements on auditing standards, SAS. And for issuers, it means the PCAOB auditing standards, the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, PCAOB auditing standards. Those are, so basically SAS and PCAOB AS are the authoritative literature, right? In audit. In FAR, it is the accounting standard codification, which is the authoritative literature. Okay, Chinmay? What is the passing percentage in CPA? Like in CA final, it is 3 to 5% out of 100 students appearing. Okay, so here it is almost in the range of 45 to 55%, right? It fluctuates between that, typically 45 to 55, but that is the global average, right? Indians do better. Okay, so I can say this with pride that Indians do this better. So Indians average of, so global average is 45 to 55, but the Indians, they average around 70 to 80%. Okay. Right, so that is the good thing. And next thing, Subramaniam, international auditing standard and US auditing standards are same or different? There are some differences, right? They are not exactly the same. They are very, very similar, but there are some differences here and there, minor. Okay, and whatever is relevant for your syllabus that have been covered, that are there in the book, and we will also cover it. Arun, can 2 papers be attempted together simultaneously? I mean, if my priority is to finish all the papers ASAP, that is, if I can be ready for both papers in time. Yes, Arun, of course, it can be attempted together. In fact, like if I give you my example, I took all the 4 papers together, all the 4 together, because in my time, there were no exams in India. Exams in India started only because of COVID, right? Before COVID, exams were not in India. People had to go to US or Dubai. And in fact, Dubai also started in 2014. Before that, Indians had to go to US to take the exam, right? So 2014, Indians could start going to Dubai and take the exam. And from 2020 was it, or 2000? Yeah, I think it was 2020 when they started in India, right? So when I took the exam, I went to US to take the exam, and I went. It was not my CPA program was company sponsored, but the travel was not company sponsored, right? The travel was not sponsored. Only the fee of the course was sponsored by my company. So I had to go, like I had to spend my own money to travel. So obviously, I could not have gone again and again. So I took all the 4 papers together, right? So absolutely, it depends on how much time you can give. You can take 2 papers also. You can take 4 papers also, right? I took span of 15 days. Like I got leave from office for 20 days. I had accumulated leaves. Like I had not taken leaves like the entire year. And in fact, I had not taken leaves the year prior to that also, for some reason. Like there was a lot of work pressure. So I had not taken any leave. And because in my mind, I knew that I'm going to do CPA, right? So I was planning for it already. So I was saving my leaves for my CPA exam. So I had not taken leaves for 2 years, and then I took all of them, like 20 days leave I took, and I went to US and I took 4 papers in a span of 15 days, right? 14 or 15 days. So it is absolutely possible. But somebody had asked, is it better to give one paper every quarter? See, now that exams are happening in India, you can space it accordingly, right? So you have the flexibility now. You can space it accordingly and pace your studies accordingly. Pratibha, you told about how to access the Becker software. No, I have not yet told it. I have not yet discussed that. Excuse me. I'm going to take you through the Becker software. Okay. How to access? Well, if you're asking me how to even get the access, you have to talk to the admin team, right? They will provide you with a user ID and password, and they will share the link with you. You have to probably download it the first time, right? In a device, in any device. It could be a laptop, it could be your iPad, it could be a smartphone, whatever it is, you have to download it. I mean, even if you don't download it, you can still access the software, but then you will be using the internet, right? Every time. If you download it, then even you can access it offline. Offline as in when you are not sort of connected to a network, even then you can access it, right? If you download it. So if you're asking me how to do that, please contact the admin team. They will give you the user ID and password and the link and the process to download it. And once you have done that, then every time you just input the password and it takes you inside the software. And then how the software is sort of laid out, that I will take you through in today's session. Okay. Vineet, what will be the next subject? Again, that is something that I cannot comment on. But yes, we have finished. We have just completed. What was the subject that you just did, you guys? Did you guys do Beck right now? Beck, right? So yeah, so Beck, you have just done. So obviously Beck will not start right after this. And FAR was done before Beck, right? So if I write it here, FAR was done before Beck, right? Then Beck happened, and now audit is happening. That means reg must have been done before FAR. So logically speaking, reg should start after audit. It's a cycle. See, it's a cycle of 4 subjects, and this cycle, normally it continues in this fashion, right? So reg, FAR, Beck, audit, then again reg, FAR, Beck, audit, then again reg, FAR, Beck, audit. So going by that logic, reg should start next. Okay, but sometimes it also depends on the request of the students. If maximum most of the students are asking for a particular subject to get started, then of course the team considers that, and they start with that subject. Okay, so I can't say with full confidence that reg will start, but I can say with I can say with a lot of confidence, but not 100% confidence that reg will start. It depends on the students also. Okay. As per the cycle, looks like it is reg. Okay. What is the next question? Since audit and FAR complement each other. Yeah, we need. So, going by this cycle, it is reg that will start next. But if you want to do FAR, then you can watch the recorded videos. Okay, Arjun, do we have scanners and 10-year papers for CPA? Where can we find the same? When did you give it? So there are no scanners as such here or 10 years papers, Arjun. In fact, CPA exam questions are not supposed to be discussed with anyone. Right. So in fact, you will also read about it that you cannot discuss the CPA exam paper, like the specific questions that were asked. You cannot discuss it with anyone. It's not allowed. So obviously, if it is not allowed, nobody would take the risk of publishing the questions. So to answer your question in a yes or no, no, there are no scanners available, no papers available. Yes, in the AICPA's website, sometimes they release some questions. Okay, so time to time you can go to the AICPA website and you will see some questions that they have released, 15-20 questions, or maybe sometimes even more than that. And you can just go through those questions. Other than that, there are no past questions available. The Becker software has a lot of questions, like thousands of questions, right, overall. And those questions are pretty much online with what they ask you in the exam, right? In fact, students say that Becker MCQs uh, like were 70% similar, or 75-80% similar to the actual exam MCQs, right? That's what students have said in the past. So that's the only source from where you can, of course, unless you also go for, there's something called the final review, okay, which is not part of the basic software, right? It is not part of software. The final review is a separate, I think it's a separate product offered by Becker. In that they have, hello, can you hear me? So in that they have about, let's say if I talk about FAR, they have about 200 additional questions and about 25-30 simulations. And similar for audit, right? There are about 180-200 odd additional MCQs and 25-30 simulations. So you can practice from the Becker software, the one that you have, and you can, if required, if you feel the necessity for it, you can also go for the final review, but that costs additional money. So it's not required actually, but if you think that you have enough time in hand, you have done the Becker software questions 3-4 times, and you still have time in hand, and you want to practice more, then you can go for that, right? And of course, there are other providers also who have their own question bank. So again, if you have enough time and money to spend, you can go for other publishers' questions also, right, for additional practice. But if you ask me honestly, it's not required. It's not required. Well, this software that you have is enough. In fact, you will not even be able to complete this properly, right? I'm not saying like you as in you. Generally, I'm saying students are not even able to cover what is there in this Becker software properly. Forget about doing something else, right? And that is another word of caution that I want to sort of put out there, is that a lot of students, they look for different things. They will also look at X publishers material and questions. They'll also look at Y publishers material and questions, Z publisher material and questions. They will go to Google and they will start searching things. They will go to Reddit, they will go to another 71, there are different forums, CPA forums out there in Google, right? Multiple forums for CPAs. Guys, I just want to put out a word of caution. Just remain focused on what you have. Just remain focused on that. Don't look here and there. Don't look at 10 things or 100 things. Trust me, it is going to confuse you even more. It's going to really, really confuse you, because, especially the Google, the forums that are there on the internet, right? If you just ask one question over there, 10 different people are going to give 10 different types of answers to your question, and they're going to make it crazy for you, right? You are going to get really, really confused by what different people are saying, right? And your concepts which were clear in your mind will also become I mean, it will put you in doubt. So please don't look here and there. You have the best material available with you. Becker is considered to be one of the best. In fact, it is considered to be the best, right? I mean, purely based on the results. This is not my opinion. I'm saying this is not an opinion that I'm giving. Based on the results, these are facts, right? The students going through Becker, they have, and this is what Becker claims also, you can see it, that the percentage of Becker students passing the exam is double that of other students, right? So Becker is one of the oldest, it is one of the most renowned in the market. The pass percentage of Becker students is double that of others, right? So you have the best material with you already. You don't need to look here and there. All you need to do is just do the material that you have, do that properly. And when I say properly, it might take you 4 revisions before you actually get control on the subject, right? 4 revisions. FAR and audit, I'm talking about the subjects that I take. I'm not commenting on Reg and Beck. Abhinav sir is the better person to answer on Reg and Beck issues. But FAR and audit, I can tell you, because these are both very, very heavy subjects, you need at least 4 revisions to master this subject, right? And like I said in the beginning also, you have to get 90 at home before you schedule your exam, right? Again, this is my suggestion only. Ultimately, it's your choice, it's your decision. But this is my suggestion, that you should get 90 at home before you schedule your exam. And to get 90 at home, it will not happen in the first attempt itself. First attempt, as in, you just read you go through this live sessions and straight away start doing the MCQs. Obviously, you will not get 90. Okay, so there is a process to it, and I'll discuss that right now. I'm just addressing all your questions quickly so that I can then discuss that. Okay, and when did I give my exam? Well, doesn't really matter to you, because that's not going to help you when I gave my exam, because I did not give it recently, right? If I had given recently, then I could have shared my experience of what is happening lately. For that, you need to contact students who have just appeared for the exam. They can share their experience with you. But yes, I took it in long time back. You can imagine, I took it before 2014, because that time even Dubai was not there. So I had to go to US to take the exam, right? So yeah, for the latest, Arjun, our students here, as they appear, they share their experiences. And sometimes, if they score very good marks, we also have webinars. I can give you at least name of one student who got extremely good marks in all the 4 subjects. He's actually, he's the Elia Watson's Award winner, Lalit. So we conducted a session with Lalit, just to get his his view on how the papers went, what preparation he did, how did he score. So basically he scored 99, 99, and then 97 and 92. If I'm not mistaken, these were his scores in the 4 subjects: 99, 99, 96 or 97, and 92, right? So amazingly well, he did amazingly well. So there is, I think, a good 1 hour webinar, session with him. So if you want to watch that, you can ask the admin team to share that link with you. Okay, and he will give you certain tips of how he prepared for it. I will also keep on giving tips as I take you through the course. Okay, Asim, so do we need to go through the authoritative literature in order to attempt the answer in exam? If yes, how to study and find the authoritative literature? I don't think this was discussed in FAR recorded classes. Okay. Yeah, it was not discussed, because you don't need to go through it. You don't need to go through the authoritative literature. And it is not even there in the book, right? They have not given the authoritative literature in the book, like the bare language. We call it the bare language, right? So just like in regulation, you have all the laws, but you don't have the bare acts in the book. Similarly, in FAR paper, you don't have the accounting standard codification. You don't have the the SFAS, the statement on financial accounting standards, in the book. You just have the treatment of how you treat deferred tax, how you treat leases, how what do you do for different items in the balance sheet. The book has given the treatment of what to do. What do you do for inventories? Do you do lower of cost or NRV, or do you do lower of cost and market? And so it has given you the treatment of the items, not the bare language of the accounting standard codification. Okay, so you don't need to go through that. Yes, in the research question, right? So there's a research question in the exam. Let me share the screen. So in the research, they sometimes ask you, they give you a scenario. They sometimes give you a scenario and they ask you to fill these boxes, right? Like boxes as in exact number where this particular scenario is covered in the authoritative literature. So they have given you some scenario and they're asking you where in the authoritative literature is this covered? Is this scenario covered, right? And if you have gone through my FAR amendments lectures, in that I have covered a lot of these type of questions, right? So they'll give you a scenario and ask you where in the literature can you find this this kind of a scenario. So in that they give you the entire authoritative literature. It is available like in the exam, in the Becker software also, and in the real exam also. When you face this kind of a question, you will have the entire authoritative literature. You click on this and the entire literature will open up. It's like a search engine, right? Just like on Google, you search, you put a word and you can search different links, having that word, containing that word. Similarly, you have a search bar over here. You type a keyword and it will show you all the links that contain this keyword, right? So you can actually put in a keyword, look for it, open this, click on this first link, look for whether it is covering this scenario that they have given you in the question. If not, go to the next link and so on. And once you find the correct link, right? Let's say the first link was the correct link, that link will have the number. So let's say AU-C920, just as an example. That means this is your answer. You have to just type it here, AU-C920. Just as an example, I'm saying that this is your answer. So you have the entire authoritative literature available to you. Now, some students ask this question that, sir, if the entire authoritative literature is available to me in the exam, then I can look for any answer. I can search for any answer and give the answer, right? Well, they are not so stupid, right? They are not so stupid. They also know that if we give the entire authoritative literature, the students are going to look for it, look for all the answers in the authoritative literature. So what they have done is they have made different testlets, right? Testlet 1, testlet 2, testlet 3, testlet 4, testlet 5. So let's say first testlet is only MCQs, second is only MCQs, third is only MCQs, fourth is TBS, fifth is TBS. Okay, just as an example, I'm saying. And in this, the last TBS, there is one question or two questions. Okay, these are tabs, just like you have worksheets in Excel. These are the tabs. You click on this first tab here where my cursor is right now, and that window will open up. You click on the next one, that window will open up. Now, let's say you clicked on this first one, right? This first one, and a window opens up where they have given you that scenario and they have asked you to fill these boxes. In this, they have given you the authoritative literature, right? That means in this TBS, the authoritative literature is there. AL, I'm writing here. This authoritative literature is there. So you click on the first one, you can go to the authoritative literature. Right now you have clicked on this first one, so this window is there. You can go through the authoritative literature, find the answer and type in the answer. Then you click on the second one, you click on the second one, and the second one opens up. Second one is also most likely going to be this type of question where you need the authoritative literature. If you are extremely lucky, then this second one may have a regular question, a normal TBS, right? In that, of course, you can use the authoritative literature and find the answer, right? But most likely they will not even give you that. They'll give you this type of question in both where you need the authoritative literature. In all the other testlets, the authoritative literature won't be there. In this testlet, this one, it won't be there. So at best, it can help you in attempting just one question. That also, if it is not this type of question. If it is this type of question, then anyways, you will need the authoritative literature to answer it. If it is a regular TBS, then it might help you in answering only this question by using the authoritative literature. Make sense? Okay, what is the next question? Arjun, CPA are very costly paper considering the fact that dollar rate is continuously rising. Yes, Arjun, that is why it is even more important that you schedule the exam only once you are fully confident, and your confidence will come only when you score good, at home. And that's why I said you have to score 90 at home, before you schedule the exam, so that even on a bad day, you will still score above 75, right? And by the way, 75 is not marks, right? But what I mean is you will still be in the top 25 percentile. Chaitali, sir, access to Becker will be for how many years? Is there a time limit? Yes, there is a time limit. It is for 24 months, right? So yeah, you will, and 24 months is a good enough time, right, to clear this exam. So students completed in 6 months time also, right? I have had students who have completed it in 6 months, and I can give you examples, right? There was a guy, he took a sabbatical for 6 months, so obviously he had that target in mind, right? So he went for the papers in 5.5 months, took the papers, and the result comes out in 15-20 days. So in exactly 6 months from the date he started, in exactly 6 months, he was a CPA already, right? In 6 months, he was a CPA. So it is absolutely possible. 24 months is a big enough time to complete the paper, right? To complete all the 4 papers. So that is, so that's why, yes, if you just, God forbid, if someone does not clear it in 24 months also, then you will have to reapply for the access, but you get a huge discount, right? And I mean, I'm not actually the right person to quote on it, because Becker people will, they decide that percentage. But generally, I've seen in the past that they give 45% discount the first time when you renew it, only one time, right? So if your license expires in 2 years and you apply again, you will get a 45. I mean, I'm not sure whether it is still continuing or not, but this is what I've seen in the past, that they used to give 45% discount when you renew it one time. If you renew it the second time, right, that means another 2 years have gone by, and then you are renewing it again, then I think that discount was not available. It was only available for one time. But these kind of policies keep changing. But you should not even think on those lines, right? You should think of clearing the paper maximum within 1 year. You have to put a target. Otherwise, if you don't put a target, it's going to extend. I also know, like I said, we have students who cleared it in 6 months also, but I also, on the other hand, I also have students, or I know students, who are doing CPA for last 3 years, 4 years also. They're just doing it, like they're just preparing, but either not taking the exam, or even if they're taking the exam, clearing the exam, one paper, they're not clearing the others. So by the way, that also brings me to this point that I hope you know. If you don't know, then this is something important that you need to know, is that once you clear the first paper, let's say you cleared the first paper on this date, okay? This is your first paper. Once you clear the first paper, you have to clear the remaining 3 within 18 months. Within 18 months. So if this is 18 months from this paper date, right? This is the completion of 18 months from the first paper date. You have to clear the remaining 3 whenever, within this 18 months, whenever, but you have to clear the remaining 3 within this 18 months. Otherwise, what will happen is, let's say you cleared the second paper, you cleared the third, but you did not clear all the 3. You did not clear the I mean the fourth paper actually. After the first, the remaining three, right? So first anyways you had cleared on this date. Then after within 18 months of that date, you have to clear the remaining three. So out of the remaining three, you cleared two, but you did not clear the third one. Then what will happen is this first paper, let's say you did not clear it and 18 months got completed, then this first paper will become invalid. You have to appear for it again. Okay, this paper will become invalid. You have to appear for it again. And now, by when do you have to complete? Now your date will start from here. From this date, 18 months, right? So I'll put a line over here. From this date, 18 months, let's say gets over here. That means now you have to clear the remaining three. Apart from this, you have to clear the remaining three within 18 months. That means now you already cleared this paper. You had already cleared this paper. So this is good. You did not clear this one, so you have to clear this one, right? That means now you have to clear this one and this one within 18 months. Is that clear? Is that clear? If it is not clear, let me make it one more time. Let's say you clear FAR on this date. This is 18 months. You have to clear audit, back, reg, all within these 18 months. Now, if you cleared audit, you cleared back, but you could not clear reg, then from the date of audit paper, whatever is 18 months, within that time frame, you have to clear back, reg, and FAR. Back you have already cleared. You have to now clear reg and FAR, right? And the very fact that you did not clear reg within this first 18 months, you did not clear reg, that means you have not cleared reg yet. Now you have to clear reg and FAR got lapsed. FAR got lapsed because you could not clear reg in the first 18 months. So you have to also clear FAR within 18 months of audit. Now it has become from audit. And let's say now this time you clear reg, but you do not clear FAR, and this 18 months also gets over. Now your another 18 months will start from the date of back. You're getting my point? So, you know, it can extend, keep on extending. If you don't clear all the 4 papers, right? The remaining 3 within 18 months of the first one. So, you know, like I said, there are students who have cleared all the 4 in 6 months also. There are students who take 3 years, 4 years also, right? So it is there are pros and cons to everything. This exam does not have a date sheet. Like in India, we have date sheet, right? You know that you are going to appear for your exam in this month and you prepare accordingly, right? Otherwise you will miss that date. That means you'll have to wait for another year, right? If it is an annual exam, or if it is a semi-annual exam, like 2 times in a year, then you'll have to wait for the next one, right? Like in CA, what happens? Either you prepare for May. If you prepare for May, you sit for May and you hopefully clear it. Otherwise you wait till November for the next attempt, right? But you at least have a date in mind. Here there is no date. You can take the exam anytime. So which is an advantage also, that you have the flexibility. But there's a big disadvantage psychologically, that, you know, some student, if you are not a self-driven, really motivated person, you know, committed, motivated, then, or you are too busy with your work and all that. In the introduction, I could see some of you are very senior, right? You have 15-20 years of experience. So I'm sure you have a lot of workload, right? So what happens is, the disadvantage is that because there is no date sheet, you have to decide a date, right? It is up to you when you want to take the exam. So disadvantage is that sometimes, you know, you think that, okay, I'll do it next month. I'll do it in February. Now you decide February, but by the time you reach December or January, you feel that no, I'm not ready for the Feb window. So let me push it to April, right? Then you again get busy at work. By March, you realize you're not ready for even for April. So you push it. And now because it has happened 2 times, you think, okay, let me just push it further so that, again, it does not happen. So you push it to September or October, right? So the exam that you were planning to take in February, you have now pushed it to October, right? Almost the year is about to end. You thought you will take it, towards the beginning of the year, you have pushed it towards the end of the year, October, November. So 1 year has gone by without you taking any exam. You're getting my point. So, there's a huge disadvantage also of this kind of a setup, is that you have to be really motivated and committed. Okay. All right. What is the next question? Audit can be given without classes for FAR. So we will have to wait for the classes. Audit can't be given. Well, you don't have to wait, Pratibha. You can watch the recorded videos, right? So the FAR recorded videos are available. You can request the admin team and they can provide you with the links of the FAR recorded videos, and you can go through the recorded videos, right? It's not necessary that you'll have to go through the live. Live is better because there's interaction, like you're asking questions here and I'm answering those questions. So live in that sense is better, but otherwise, coverage wise, recorded videos will cover everything. Okay, how can we practice exam for all the subjects? So I'll take you through the software. In the software, there are some mini exams and then there are mock exams, right? So mini exams are after a couple of chapters, right? Like in audit, I think it is after every 2 chapters. So there are total 6 chapters in audit. So after 2 chapters, there is 1 mini exam. Then after the 4th chapter, there is 1 mini exam. And then after the 6th chapter, there is 1 mini exam. And then you have mock exam. Mock exam basically is a complete full 4-hour exam covering the entire syllabus exactly in the same pattern as the real exam. You have different testlets. You have MCQs in the first 2 or 3 testlets, and then you have the simulations. So it is exactly a replica of the real exam. Of course, questions are not the exam questions. Questions are made by Becker team, but they are very much similar to the real exam questions. Okay, in terms of level of difficulty. Okay. Aditya, how can we practice? So I've answered that question, Aditya, right? You can practice from the mini exams, mock exams. Polisetti, as said that in the exam, there will be approximately 75% matching with Becker. What is the way out to fill the balance as to see what the students basically mean is that 75% of the questions were exactly similar to the Becker questions, like, as if they had seen that question before, as if they had done that question before, that it gave them that feeling. The remaining 25%, of course, with the knowledge that you will gain, you will be able to attempt those 25% also. But what they actually meant was that 75% were like absolutely similar to the Becker questions. Okay. Okay, so for the balance, like, you don't have to do anything special to fill that balance. You will anyways go through the syllabus. Only thing you need to do is you have to revise it minimum 4 times. Minimum 4 times you will have to revise. Okay. Aditya, in Becker software, we answer a question and it is wrong, then it provides the reason. But if we want to practice the same question again, we can't undo the answer. The answer is already appearing. No, answer does not already appear. If you want to redo the question, you have to exit that, you have to exit from it and then enter it again. When you enter it again, it does not show you the answers. Okay. If you, without exiting, if you are just doing a, going back to a question, then the answer is already appearing. Without exiting, if you go back, then the answer already appears because you have already clicked on that answer and it shows the explanation. Then you move forward to other questions. and then you came back to that question, then answer is appearing. But if you exit that, okay, and then again click on it and enter it, it will not show you the answers. Okay, and I'll show it to you. I'll open the software and I'll show it to you. Okay, Aditya. Asim, in the Becker Unlimited test option, are the questions different every time or do they repeat? Yes, some of them repeat, right? Some of them are different every time. Some of them get repeated, right? Arjun, but if we know the literature number, then I can easily get answers of those questions from the authoritative literature. Yes, of course, if you know the number, then you can, then you don't even, if you know the number, then you don't even have to search the authoritative literature, right? If you know the number, you can straight away write that. That is the answer, if you know the number, right? But yes, knowing the number is not an easy task because it is a very, very vast literature, extremely vast literature, like thousands of numbers, not easy to remember, right? And that is the reason why they give you the authoritative literature, so that you can search for your answer. Okay. Yes, if you mean that you have some idea about the number, then of course it will be faster for you to search compared to other students who don't have an idea also of how to, where to find it. But let me also tell you that again, if you don't know the number at all, like you don't even have an idea about it, still there's nothing to worry. You have a search engine over there. You can find with the keywords, right? So there's nothing to worry as such. Yes, if you know the number or have some idea, it will be faster. Ashish, can you repeat in brief about the authoritative literature, as there was some problem in it? Okay, so Ashish, about the authoritative literature, I only said that you don't have to know the, you don't have to go through the authoritative literature, whether it is FAR or audit or reg, right? Like in reg, you don't have to go through the entire internal revenue code. It's not even there in your syllabus. Okay, just as an example, I'm saying entire internal revenue code is even not there in your syllabus, because internal revenue code has more than 9,000 sections and it has more than 800 forms, right? So it is humanly impossible for anybody to remember 9,000 sections, and these are just sections. There are subsections, then every section has some subsections and could be multiple subsections. There are subsections, then there are provisos, there are exceptions, right? So it is humanly impossible for anybody to remember all the sections. Similarly, in FAR, it is humanly impossible to remember the entire authoritative literature, the entire accounting standard codification. And there is not just one literature, by the way, right? There is not just one literature, there are so many. There is the SFAS, the Statement on Financial Accounting Standards. There is the SFACs, Statement on Financial Accounting Concepts. There are, bulletins. There are basically staff accounting bulletins. There are regulation, like SEC has regulation SX. And these are all extremely vast in themselves, right? SFAS, vast, SFAC, vast, regulation SX, very, very vast. How many literature can you go through and remember, right? It's humanly impossible, basically. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to go through the authoritative literature, is what I said, because in the exam, in one of the testlets, not in all the testlets, in one of the testlets where they give you a research-based question, they will give you the entire authoritative literature. You can search, there's a search bar, you can put in a keyword and you can search for your answer and then type your answer. But that is only in one testlet, not in all the testlets. The other testlets, of course, you will have to answer from your knowledge. You will not have access to the authoritative literature. You will have the access only in one testlet. Next question. Shall we plan 2 at a time? Ajay, like I said, you can plan 2 at a time, right? Depends on the time that you can give. Mini exam, what is that? Mini exam, nothing. It is basically mini. The word mini has been put there because it is not testing you on the entire syllabus. It is just testing you on 2 chapters, right? So after audit 1 and audit 2, there is a mini exam. Then again, after audit 3 and audit 4, there is a mini exam. It's not like a full blown exam. It is a mini, right? Just covering 2 chapters. Urja, in case we wish to give the audit exam without going through the FAR class, will it make it difficult to clear the audit exam? Yes, I would say yes. Because I mean, it is not that you cannot clear the audit exam. You can still clear the audit exam without going through the FAR classes, but going through the FAR make understanding audit easier. Your understanding of the subject will get better if you do FAR classes. And of course, like I said, in the audit exam, sometimes they give FAR questions, like straight away ask you to make journal entries. So if your concepts of journal entries is strong, right? Obviously, I'm assuming that all of you are have done BCom, right? Because that is the eligibility criteria, right? Whether you have done 11th, 12th commerce or not, you must have done, at least you must have done BCom. Even if you were a science student in 11th, 12th, then switch to BCom and now doing CPA, even then you have done 3 years of graduation, right? BCom. And if you had commerce in 11th, 12th, then you have done accounts in 11th, 12th also, right? So if your basics of accounting are strong, then you might still be able to attempt those journal entry related questions, right? But it is always good to go through FAR before taking the audit exam. It is not absolute necessity, right? It is not an absolute necessity, but it is good to go through it. It will help you only. All right, Urja. Arjun, in this manner, basis keywords, I can search answer of MCQs as well. Like I said, Arjun, the authoritative literature will not be available in the MCQ testlet. It will not be given to you in the MCQ testlet. It will be given to you only in the research testlet. Okay, so it is not possible to go through the authoritative literature while answering MCQs. Arun, unless you are Micros. So Arun, I don't know in what context you are saying this. Maybe something I said earlier based, it is based on that. So so you have to probably repeat. Okay, Arun. Okay, Asim, Arjun, as sir mentioned, the authoritative literature is not given in all the sections. Yeah. Amit, what will be the break timings? Break timings here for this class, or you're asking about the exam? So here the break timing would be around 9 o'clock, right? Today I know we have crossed that time because today is the first class and I'm still answering all your questions. So let me just quickly answer all your questions here, then take a break, and then I will start talking about the subject as such, and I'll take you through the software. So normally in the other classes, like what we will do is, because it's starting at 7, we'll take a break around 9 o'clock, at about 9 o'clock, right? It could be 5 minutes here and there depending on what topic is going on, and is there a logical break at that time. But yeah, it will be around 9 o'clock and it will be for about 10 minutes. Okay. And in the exam, of course, you get a 15 minutes break, right? Where your clock stops. So it's a 4-hour exam. Reach half an hour before the exam time. You have to reach half an hour before, like that is the official time they have given you. So if you have taken a slot of 9 o'clock, you have to present yourself at 8:30. Okay. So ideally you should reach the center by 8 o'clock, because you'll have to park your car or whatever. And then there is, in the US there is a huge security check that happens. In India, of course, that is not there. So but still you should reach by 8 o'clock, park your car, etc. Go go to the washroom, have some water, and then by 8:30 you show yourself. You basically you be there at 8:30, and 9 o'clock your exam will start, right? So basically it's a 4.5-hour process. 9 o'clock your exam will start. It's a 4-hour exam, 9 to 1, right? I'm just giving an example of 9 o'clock. You can schedule any time. You can schedule a 2 to 6, right? 2 to 6. In that case, you will have to be there by 1:30. That means you have to reach by 1 o'clock, right? Right. So it's a 4.5 hour, and you reach half an hour before that also. So overall 5 hours it takes. And yeah, in the 4 hours, so if it's a 9 to 1 exam, then you get a 15 minutes official break. That means those 15 minutes, the clock will not run. It will stop. Right. So logically, like mostly, after the MCQs, so there are 3 testlets of MCQs and 2 testlets of TBSs. So after you are done with the MCQs, you should take a 15 minutes break before you start with the simulations. Okay. Arun, that was a reference to Suit's character with a photographic memory. Just okay. On the lighter note, yeah, the American series Suits, right? Yeah. So if you have a photographic memory, then you can remember all the authoritative literature. Otherwise, or you are Swami Vivekananda, then you can remember. Otherwise, it is humanly impossible. Okay, Asim, yes, where he was able to swift recollect all the sections of the law. Yeah. And Chaitali sir, in FAR lecture, you are saying something about carrying calculator at the exam center. I don't recollect those things. If you could repeat here once again. Calculator is allowed for the CPA exam, but because this is a computer-based exam, right? You will also have an Excel sheet embedded in your in the software, right? The exam software I'm talking about. Of course, in the Becker software, there's an Excel sheet, but it is not a full, like it does not have all the functionalities of Excel, right? But it has all the basic functionalities of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all of that it has, right? So you have the Excel embedded in the software, Becker software, as well as in the exam, they'll give you the Excel embedded in the exam software. So you can use the Excel. Calculator is allowed for this exam, but it is not like an Indian exam where everybody in the room is taking CPA, right? There, what happens is, there would be different people taking different exams. Whoever is taking a computer-based exam, right, can go to a Prometric center and take his or her exam. So maybe you are the only candidate who's taking the CPA exam. Everybody else is taking some other exam. Somebody is taking an engineering exam. Somebody is taking a medical exam. Somebody is taking architecture exam. Somebody is taking some other exam. In that hall, in that examination center, at that time, at that very moment when you are taking CPA exam, other people are taking other exams. It's very much possible. So what happens is the invigilator does not know which exam allows calculator and which exam does not allow calculator, right? So you have to go and tell the invigilator that I am taking CPA. In CPA, calculator is allowed. So please provide a calculator to me, right? So they will give you the calculator. You cannot carry your own calculator. At least that is what happens in the US centers. In the Indian centers, also, I'm sure the same thing happens, right? But even if they allow, so you can carry your calculator, right? But right at the entrance, when there is a security check and all that, if they find a calculator in your bag, they may take it out. Even if they don't, you should go and confirm. You should go and confirm with the invigilator that I'm taking CPA exam. Calculator is allowed in the CPA exam. I'm carrying my own calculator. Do you want to check it? Right? If he or she says no problem, you can take it inside and you can use it, then you use it. Otherwise, you put it back in your bag and they will give you one calculator, right? So, but please show it to the invigilator so that later it does not become an issue, right? That where did you get the calculator from? Show me. And it is going to basically, it's going to waste your time, 5-10 minutes, whatever, in just arguing with the person or convincing the person. So right at the beginning, that's why they ask you to reach half an hour before time so that you can sort out all these issues, right? So you should immediately, when you reach, you should go and tell them. And if they are not sure about it, right, because they will not believe you, right? You will tell them that I'm taking CPA. That, of course, they will know that you are here to take the CPA exam. But when you tell them that CPA exam allows calculator, they may not believe you. They may want to check their own records, right? So if they have the records which says CPA exam allows calculator, then they'll give it to you immediately. Otherwise, they will confirm with someone. So they'll call someone and confirm, and that may take time. So this happened with one of our students. That's why I'm saying, she asked for a calculator, they refused. Then she said, I'm taking CPA exam. It is allowed. Please give it to me. Then they said, okay, we will check. We'll find out. And by the time they found out and gave her a calculator, it was already half an hour. So, I mean, it did not impact her that much, because time she was doing other questions which did not need a calculator. But I'm just saying that it could take half an hour for them to sort this out, right? So you should immediately, when you reach, you should immediately talk about it. Also, you cannot carry anything inside the hall, right? Um, you cannot carry anything inside the hall. So they will give you, right? If you need to do some like rough work, they will give you a, like, again, I'm sharing my US experience. In India, you know, we can confirm with other students, and you can also talk to other students who have appeared for the exam. In the US, at least, you know, they used to give A4 sheets, right? And they used to give a pencil, right? You can write with pencil on that A4 sheet if you have to do some calculation or you want to write anything. Now what they have done is they have started giving a transparent slide, right? A transparent slide and a non-permanent marker kind of a thing. So you can write, erase, write, erase, write, erase on that transparent slide, right? With A4 sheets, you know, once it is filled, you have to ask for another one, then you have to ask for a third one. So to basically overcome that problem, they have introduced a transparent plastic slide and a non-permanent marker. You can write on that and then erase it and again write, right? So that you don't have to ask it again and again. So you can't carry anything. They will provide you with that transparent slide and a non-permanent marker. Okay. There was a reference, this I've covered. FAR lecture, yeah. So calculator. So Chaitali, I hope I have answered your question. Asim, is it possible for the class timings to be 9 to 1? Not for now, at least, right? Maybe later, but right now it is going to be 7 to 11, at least for a few weeks, right? And then, you know, we will see. Okay, so at least for 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be 7 to 11. And then we will see if we can change it to 8 to 12 or 9 to 1. Okay, Asim? Can we write something in that Excel file which is embedded in the software? Yes, you can type. You can type in that Excel sheet whatever you want. Okay. Any limited functions can be performed on the same. Yeah, you can do addition, subtraction, like I said, right? You can do some basic functions. Mohit, including pen. Yeah, even pen you can carry, you can take it with you. If they allow you, fine. Mostly they don't allow anything from outside. They will give you whatever needs to be given. Okay. Only mask. Okay, so Shilpa has answered this question. Only mask, NTS, passport are allowed, as everything like watch, books are asked to keep in the locker they provide. Yeah, right. So nothing is allowed, only your mask and the NTS and your passport. Lipika, please don't change the timings. It's someone asked. Yeah, so see, the timings are 7 to 11, right? And it's going to stay like this unless, you know, it's going to stay like this. Unless the majority of students have a problem with this, then in that case, you know, the admin team can consider changing it, but basically it is going to be 7 to 11. Okay. Shilpa is saying they give pencil, paper and calculator. What is NTS? NTS is, the full form is notes to schedule. It is basically like an admit card. Like in India, you have an admit card. Based on your admit card, you are allowed inside the exam center. So NTS is similar to that. Without NTS, they will not allow you inside the exam center. Okay. So you have to apply for your NTS and the admin team will help you with that process. Timings are perfect, convenient. Okay. So great. Mohit, Neha also saying it's convenient. Chaitali, NTS is kind of a hall ticket. Yes. Timing is perfect. Timing is perfect. Timing is perfect. Great. Great. So guys, great. So let's do one thing. Let's take a break now. I hope your questions have been answered. If not, I will take it again after the break. Let's take a break right now. It's almost 9:30. So around 9:40 or 9:45, we will resume. Okay. 9:45, please be back. We will resume at 9:45. All right. So, so guys, let me quickly now walk you through the software. People who are new to it, like who have never logged into the software, let me quickly show it to you that this is how the software looks like, right? This is the home page. Now, if you don't know even how to get here, then I'm opening like normal Google, okay? And you have to type in, of course, you will have the link But in case you want to go through it directly without going through the link, then you just type in Becker CPA login in the search bar, Becker CPA login. Okay. And then you click on enter. It will, the first link is showing is login CPA online, right? Login CPA online. You click on that. And then actually it takes you to the page where you have to input your user ID and password, and then it brings you to this page. Because my page was already open, it straight away opened it. So that is another functionality of this, that you can have, you can open it multiple times, but in the same device. So if you see here, I have two this thing windows open. Can you see that? Can you see that I have two windows open? So let's say in one of the windows, I choose here, I have the home page. I've clicked on the home page. In home page, here you are studying for, and it gives you financial, audit, regulation, and business, right? So let's say I choose financial over here. I go to the other one and I choose auditing over here. Now it has opened the auditing page. Now I go to the previous one, back to the previous one. It is still on financial, right? That means I can open multiple tabs, okay, in one device. You can, by the way, also access the software through another device, right? So it allows you to access it on two devices, and you can also download it in both the devices, right? So maybe you have one at home, and you have a laptop at home where you have downloaded it. You have also downloaded it on your smartphone, so that even on the move, right, you are in a metro, you are in the metro or in a cab, and you can go through it. So it gives flexibility. Okay, now this is how the software looks like. This is the home page, and like I said, it gives you where you want to go. So let's say I click on auditing, right? I'm closing the second one. I click on auditing, and here you can see it has A1, A2, then mini exam 1, then A3, A4, then mini exam 2, then A5, A6, mini exam 3. And then it has like full-fledged 2 exams. Okay. Now, if I click on A1, it is going to show me the modules of A1, right? M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, M6, M7, M8, M9, M10, M11. So there are 11 modules in A1, right? So like this, you click on any of the any of the audit chapters, and it will take you inside that chapter. And like this one, it has 11 modules. Now, when I click on module 1, for example, professional standards, it has the lecture and the MCQs. This lecture is the Becker lecture, right? And then it has the MCQs. And as you can see here, it is just a 10 minutes lecture as per, the Becker software. The Becker lecture is just 10 minutes. But in our sessions, maybe this 10 minutes lecture could be more, right? Depending on how, how much detail, one wants to get into. So this is just indicative, therefore. And then it has MCQs. Now it does not have simulations. This one does not have simulations, but wherever there are simulations, it will also show simulations. So M2 also does not have any simulation. M3, if you see here, it has simulations. And it says 1 task. So there is only 1 simulation here. And they have also given an indicative time of 10 to 20 minutes. That means you should be able to complete it in this much time. MCQs also, they have given like 6 questions over here, 6 questions, and estimated time is 10 to 20 minutes, right? If I go back to the first one, professional standards, it has 9 questions, 9 MCQs, and estimated time is 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. And as you progress, like here, some questions have already been done, right? So it shows the progress, how much percentage of questions have you already done? And like this, you can go through all of them. And then of course, at the end, if you see, it says put your knowledge into practice. So these are the practice tests, right? So if I click on the practice test, it says 20 MCQs and 2 task simulations, but there is a drop down menu here. You can select. If you want to do 30 questions, you can select 30 and it will give you 30. If you simulations, let's say if you don't want to do any simulation right now, you only want to do 30 MCQs, you can do that. And content is A1. So you can also choose from which chapters you want to do questions from, right? So if you want to do only A1, then let it just be A1. If you want to do a mix of A1 and A2, right? 30 questions, a mix of A1 and A2, you can do that. So you can select, any combination based on how you are preparing, and you can keep taking these practice tests. Then there are flashcards, right? So flashcard also, you can select which module you want to look at. So let's say if I select M1, only M1 flashcards will show here. And basically flashcard is just a question and answer. Question is on one side, and if you click on it, it will show the answer. Basically, it's on the other side. Like think of a physical card. One side is the question, on the back is the answer. So here you just click to flip. It says click to flip and it gives you the answer. Okay. So I think, and again, if I click, it will go back to the question only. So here question is, which standards provide the most authoritative guidance for non-issuers and issuers? And answer is SAS and PCAOB, SAS for non-issuers and PCAOB for issuers. If you see here, the answer is SAS, Statement on Auditing Standards, and PCAOB, right? Auditing standards issued by PCAOB, which are called PCAOB AS, PCAOB auditing standards for issuers, right? So you have the question, you have the answer on the back. Those are flashcards. So this is again good for practice, just to test your knowledge, how many can you answer and all that. And then end flashcard will take you out. Okay. Okay. The other thing, I think somebody was mentioning that it shows the answers. So if I say start over here, and first of all, before even taking you inside, it asks you all questions or only the unanswered questions. That means, let's say if there are 30 questions, for example, you have done 15, and then suddenly, you get busy, you have a call, office call to attend. So you just had some free time. So you started doing questions, you attempted 15, and then the office call started. So you can just close the thing, get out of it. And then next time when you log in, like login as in like this, when you click on MCQs, it will ask you, do you want to do all or do you want to do only the unanswered ones, right? If you say all, then it will again show you right from beginning all the 30. If you say unanswered, then it will show you from the 16th question onwards, because you had already done the first 15. And if you see here, it's written marked questions, only those you have marked, if any. That means you can also mark the questions, right? If you find a question difficult, you can mark it, right? It will be, there is a flag. I'll show it to you just now. There's a flag, you can flag it and it will get marked. And next time when you open it, it will ask you, do you want to do only the marked questions? So this is really good feature. If you like before the exam, obviously before the exam, you can't go through all the questions. So you can just look at the marked ones, right? So now I'm saying all questions in the topic and begin MCQs. There are 9 questions only in this. So it will show you, see here on top right here, it says question 1 of 9. So you can straight go to another question, right? If I select 5, it will straight take me to the 5th question. Otherwise, you can just click on this forward arrow. It will take you the 2nd to the 3rd to the 4th to the 5th and so on and so forth, right? And so let's say if you give a right answer, it will turn green. If you give a wrong answer, it will turn yellow. Okay. So let's just click randomly. I'm not even reading the question. Let's just randomly click. I've clicked on B and it is yellow. That means this is the wrong answer. Now, if it is a wrong answer, whether it's a right or wrong answer, it will show you the explanation. And I think this is what somebody was referring to, that now when I go to the next question, okay, let's say I solve till question number 5, and then I come back to question 1, it is already showing me the answer. So how do I attempt this question again? That is what the question was, somebody was asking. So the answer to that question is that yes, while you are still inside it and you scroll backward and forward, right? It is when you come back to this question, it is going to show you the explanation. But when you exit out of it, right, here you see end MCQs, end session. And by the way, before ending it, it will also show you the statistic that number of questions were 9, you answered only 1, right? And number of answers answered correctly 0, and percent answered correctly 0, because I just clicked randomly, right? So number of questions answered is 1 and the percentage is 0. And time spent also is given over here, right? And the average time per question is also given over here. Okay. And by the way, the percentage that they will show, let's say if I had clicked on the right answer over here, then the number of answered correctly would be 1, but percentage would not be 100%, right? 1 out of 1 is 100%, right? But it would not show 100%. It would show 1 out of 9 as a percentage. Is that clear? So now I have closed it. Now again, if I open it and I say all questions, then again it will start from question number 1 and it is not showing the answer. Okay. And now let me show you, if I give the correct answer, what will happen? The phrase US GAAP is an accounting term. Now see, it's an audit. It is an audit module, and it is asking you about US GAAP. It's a question on US GAAP. Okay. That's why I said, it is important to go through far before doing audit. So the phrase US GAAP in an accounting term is an accounting term that is what? Right? So the correct answer, I'll give you time to go, just quickly read through it. The phrase US GAAP is an accounting term that okay, you don't need to answer it because obviously we have not even started studying, but I'm just giving you time to read through the options, that these are the 4 options. And now let's say answer is B. I've clicked on B and it has turned green. Okay. Now if I click on end MCQs, see, it is showing number of questions answered is 1 and number of answered correctly is also 1, but percentage is not 100%. 1 out of 1 is 100, but it is not saying percentage answered correctly 100%. It is saying 12% because I have attempted only 1 question out of 9, right? So yeah, so 1 out of 9 is only 12%. Is that clear? So this is how you can, do it. Okay, what are the questions? Becker final review book is essential to buy? No, like I said, it is not essential. It is optional. Okay. Policetti is writing, can I customize? I need to mark every MCQ to 3 categories, A, B, C. A will be compulsory before exam, B is for chances of doing mistake or difficult one, and C will be rest. No, you don't have that. You can only mark a question. For what reason you are marking it, you have to note it on your own. The software does not give you the reason for marking. So you have to know that, let's say out of 100 questions, if you have marked 15 questions, out of those 15, which ones are for reason number A, which ones are for reason number B. Okay. Policetti. Policetti, what should I call you by? By what name? Should I call you Venkata? Venkata, Sunil? What is your preferred? Sunil is your preferred name? Okay. Okay. So yeah, Sunil. So basically you will have to write it. Okay. You can maintain an Excel sheet and you can write it. The software just gives you the option to mark it. Okay, yeah, let me also show you that. So here, here on top on the left, it says mark question, right? Now see, I have not even clicked on it. I have just put my cursor on top of it here, and I have not clicked on it yet, but it has turned orangish. Right now, when I click on it, the question is marked. Right, question is marked. And let's say I also mark another question. Auditor of a non-issuer must conduct the audit in accordance with, and I mark this question. Okay, so I have marked 2 questions now, and I end the MCQ. And now when I go back and as I say start, if I click on marked questions, it will only show me those 2 questions. See here, it has become 1 of 2, only 2 questions. So this is a great feature. Okay, and then you can unmark it also. I'm unmarking it. So now it is not marked anymore. I end the MCQs. Okay. Okay, so if you mark it, it will just show you the marked questions. So before exam, you can, and by the way, you still have the option of going through all the questions, right? But you can just select the marked so that it shows you only the marked. So you have both the options. Okay, guys. So this is how the software looks like. So this is from the home page. You can navigate to obviously to the entire software. You can click on any subject, and within that subject, go to any chapter. Within that chapter, go to any module. In that module, you can do the MCQs, simulations, etc. What are these other icons? You can create a study plan here, right? It says create a plan, right? So you can create a plan in an Excel sheet also, just on paper or on an Excel sheet. Or if you want to use the software to create a plan, you can use it, right? I personally, when I did my CPA, I also did through Becker only. But that time the software was not so evolved. They have made many changes to this software since then. So at that time, this creating plan and all that was not there in the software. So I did it on an Excel sheet. Okay, I gave some target dates to myself that these are the topics I'll finish by this date. I'll do the MCQs by this date. I'll do the simulations by this date, and so on. And I also had, maintained an Excel sheet to really see how much I'm scoring. Like out of 10 questions, module 1 of chapter 1, out of 9 questions, how many did I do correct and how many did I do wrong, right? So I was maintaining that data on an Excel sheet because at that time software was not so evolved. Third is the practice tests, which there are 2 ways of reaching here, right? One was through the chapters, right? And the other is you can straight away come to this unlimited practice test. So you can create a test over here, and then it takes you to start a test, and you can select whether you want to do MCQs and simulation or just one, and then you can select the number of questions you want to do and from which chapters you want to do. Fourth is flashcards. Again, there are 2 ways to reach here. Either just click on straight away the flashcards, or you come through the chapter, right? And I had shown you the flashcard over there, right? It's the same thing. It will take you to the same place. Like if I click on audit, yeah, click on audit, and then let's say I click on A1, and see it has taken me to that same flashcard. Which standard provide the authoritative guidance for non-issuer and issuer? Answer is SAS and PCAOB auditing standard. SAS for non-issuers and PCAOB auditing standard for issuers, right? So it has taken us to the same place, end flashcard. Then the next one is final review. Now, if I try launching it, Yes, so this final review and wait, let's see. Now see, it has only 3 questions. The normal thing had 9 questions in M. Okay, wait, this is not even the same chapter, right? So this is terms of engagement. That one was professional standards. Okay, that means from professional standards, there is no separate, there are no additional questions in the final review. Are you getting my point? A3, A4. That's it. There are only 4 parts to this, not 6. That means this is not based on the layout of the chapters, right? Not in that order, strictly speaking, it is not in that order. What I mean by that is, if you see here, A1, M1 is terms of engagement, whereas if I go to the normal A1, here M1 is professional standards. Okay, so the final review is structured slightly differently, not very much. And in my this thing access, it is opening. You have to test, you have to check yours whether in your access it is opening or not. Okay, because what I know is that with the basic I think there are different packages. There is a basic package, then there is a premium package, then there's some, I don't know, gold. There are different levels, right? So in my access, it is, at least it is showing here, maybe because they had applied for a premium package for me, because I am the faculty member. But in your case, you have to check whether your access takes you to this final review or not, right? If it takes you to this final review and you are able to open it, then that's great. You will have additional questions here to practice from, right? Otherwise, if you want to do it, I think you have to pay some extra to buy this. I'm not sure about it. You can check with the admin team. Okay. And then the next one is performance. Like, you can see how you have been performing. It will give you the entire, your summary of, what percentage you are scoring, right? So here it says 60% MCQ average score, same as last week and all that stuff. So, certain other people also use this in, at VGLD only. So because last week, I've not touched this audit part, at least for last 2 months, because last time I did the audit part was when audit was going on. After that, I did not touch the audit part, but it is saying 60% same as last week. So that means, somebody in the admin team must have used it to probably show it to some student or something, right? But whatever, the point is that it will show you the stats over here. Okay, and finally, there is a search button over here. You can search any MCQ or TBS by just putting the number of that MCQ over here. So as an example, let's say if I go to A1 and professional standards and start MCQ, all questions, begin MCQ. If you see here, it shows a number, MCQ-05899. This is the MCQ number 05899, right? Remember this number, right? Remember, as in just now, I'm saying just for now, just remember it, because I'm going to take you to the search and put this number and it will show the same question. Okay. So I end here. I go to the search part, MCQ, and I type 5899. 0 is not important, right? 05899. So even if I type just 5899, see, it has taken us to that same question. The phrase US GAAP is an accounting term that. It's the same exact question. So if you have in your notes, if you have noted down certain MCQ numbers, you need not go through this entire, through that route. You can straight come to this search page and you can straight go to that question without going through this entire route of going to the home page, selecting a subject, then selecting, all that. You don't have to do that. Okay, so pretty much this is what the software covers. And here again, there is a final review, right? So basically it is taking us to that same place. Okay, so you can go from here, or in the home page also it is there at the end. Okay, so there is an exam tracker. You can set a target date, schedule your exam accordingly, insert exam date to start the countdown, right? Then performance summary, as I showed you. Then the final review here. And then course updates, etc. So like I said, if amendments come, then it is going to appear here in the course updates. So let's see right now what it is showing. See, it is showing the purpose of this document is to provide you with a list of items that have been updated in June 2022 audit textbook version 4.2. Additions, changes, and clarifications in the text have been indicated with yellow highlight. All other text is unchanged from 4.1. That means here, whatever is highlighted in yellow is the only change. Everything else is the same as 4.1. So if I scroll down, this highlighted portion is the change. Everything else is the same. Only the highlighted portion is the change from 4.1 to 4.2. Okay. So see, you have the amendments, you have the changes here in the software itself. So those of you who have 4.1 right now, you can go through this course update and just the highlighted portions, you can make a note. Those are the only changes. Now going forward, if you have, all of you have 4.2 and before your exam, sometime 4.3 comes in, then again, they will give you the changes from 4.2 to 4.3. Okay, so you have nothing to worry as such, and we will also conduct separate amendment classes where I will take you through this entire thing of this course update, whatever I just opened it, right? I will take you through that. Okay, and then, so again, they have these icons for study planner. You can plan, right? You can create a plan. There is a report, blueprint report, basically that will show all the stats of how you have been performing, the tutorials, there is a knowledge base. Then this is what I was talking to you about, that the only way to know the past papers, there is no tenure or scanner or anything like that, but AI CPA sometimes releases questions, right? So you can see these questions on the AI CPA's website, and also the Becker software also covers these, right? So AI CPA newly released questions in July. Okay, so these are some of the questions. Let's see how many they have released. I'm just scrolling down, and these are all on auditing. 36 questions with answers, and then newly released sims also are there, simulations. Okay, so simulations will, we will cover it separately because this is something that you are probably not familiar with at all, right? So MCQs still you are familiar, right? You know what an MCQ, how an MCQ looks like. Simulation is like very different, okay? And I'll take you through a simulation. Let me show it to you right now as to how it appears, at least in the software. So if I go to A1 and M3, I think had simulations. So if I click on a simulation, See, this is how it looks like. This is the question, right? This is the question, and all these boxes, if I say, wait, there is an option to reset it. Here the answers are already filled. So, and you see the authoritative literature over here where my cursor is right now. This is the authoritative literature, entire authoritative literature embedded in the software. So in the Becker software, of course, you know, any simulation you open, there is the authoritative literature, but in the actual exam, it is not going to be available to you. All the testlets, it is going to be available only in a research testlet. Okay. And what is a research question? I'll show you that also. Now here, once you have done a question, you can also reset it. Wait, let me, why is it not showing? Oh yeah, sorry. It's right here, right? It's right here, reset. So once you reset, see, it has erased all the answers. Now you can attempt it, right? So how you attempt it? Like somebody was asking, do we have to type? No, you don't have to type anything. I clicked on this and it has given me a menu. I have to select one out of this. It is almost like an MCQ, like, right? So it is like many MCQs in one question, right? So you have to click on this, select, and then accept, right? The moment you, I'm just randomly clicking, I've not read the question, and I say accept, it has filled that cell. Now I go to the next one, again it has shown, right? And I click on something and I say accept, it has filled that cell. And once you submit the answer, then it will show you if your answer is right, it will turn green. If your answer is not right, it will turn yellow. And by the way, in one particular row, all the cells have to be correct for it to show green. If 3 cells out of these 4 cells, if 3 are correct and 1 is wrong, it will show the entire row as wrong. Okay. So if I submit the answer at this stage, see, it has shown yellow. Yellow, and the bluish thing is basically not even attempted, right? You have not even attempted this. And yellow is you have attempted, but it is wrong. Okay, is that clear? So it opens up the explanation and you can cross it out to close it, or you can simply say hide explanation. And you can exit by clicking the exit button. Okay, I think I've captured pretty much everything in the software, right, that you need to know. Let me take your questions. Do we get option of marking questions in exams also? Yes, you can mark your questions in the exam also, and you can go back to those questions and review those questions. But you can do it only while you are on that testlet. Once you submit the testlet, then of course, you know, it will not allow you to open that testlet again. So before submitting, you must review. So basically, this is how the layout is. Let me show you here on the white screen. So let's say if this is a testlet, okay, this is one testlet. You click on this testlet, right? Or let's say start, you click on start button. It will open the testlet. Now the testlet opens in front of you like this on your screen. And just like you have worksheets in Excel, you will have tabs over here. Right? So as many tabs, as many questions. So if you have 24 questions in one testlet, then it will show 24 like this. Okay. And then you will have the submit button over here, submit. So now you start the paper, you click on the first tab, okay, where my cursor is right now. Okay, this one. You click on the first tab, it will show you the question, the first question, right? It will show you the first question with 4 options. You select the right answer. I mean, whatever you think is the right answer, you select that and that's it. You go to the next one. Then you click on the next one. It will show you the next question, right? Now, if you want to flag a question, you click, there will be like an indication over here, right? There will be an indication, a clear indication, like there will be a flag, actually a flag made like this. Okay. So you click on that and it will turn into a color, right? So there are flags in all of them, right? There are flags in all of them. But the one that you have clicked will turn into a particular color, right? So that, you can easily see which one you have flagged. So let's say I have flagged this question and I have flagged this question. It has turned into a particular color. Now, before submitting, I can just click on this question and review it and, either change the answer if I want to change the answer or whatever, right? And then submit. Now, the question is that if you forget to, you had flagged the question, but you forgot to unflag it and you submitted, right? What will happen? Even if you forget to unflag it, right, before submitting, it remains as flagged. Doesn't matter, it will still be counted. This is just for your reference, right? The software is not going to consider which question was flagged, which question was not flagged. It is just for your own reference. It is going to consider all the questions, right? Yes, one word of caution is when you flag a question, don't leave it. You answer whatever you think at that moment is the answer. You answer that and flag it and move forward, so that if you don't get time to come back to it, at least you have the answer. Whatever you thought is the best answer, you have answered it. Sometimes what happens is students, let's say you are confused in this question, it is taking time, so you want to move forward, you don't want to waste time, which is the right strategy, right? But what students do is they don't even select an answer, they move forward. And then in the end, if they don't have time, they are not able to come back to this question. So this question remains unanswered. So basically you lose the marks, right? So my suggestion is, even if you are flagging a question, first answer the question, then flag it and move forward, so that if you are not able to come back to it, at least, you have given some answer. If that answer turns out to be correct, at least you will get the marks. Okay. By the way, there is no negative marking in this exam, right? There is no negative marking. So attempt all questions, don't leave out anything. Don't leave out anything. Okay. Next question. It is not showing in my version. Okay, that means, yeah. So that means, yes, you have to probably buy it in my version. I think my access is a premium access. Normally students don't opt for the premium access because it is costlier. Normally all students, right? 99.99% students opt for the basic software only, because that is good enough, right? Even like when I was a student, when I was taking my exam, I also opted for the basic software, right? Yes, you have the option. If you want, you can buy this final review also. Soft copy of the book is there on the software. Yes. Okay. So let me show you that also. The soft copy is there. So for example, this is A1, right? A1 has 11 modules. It shows here M1, M2, M3, M4 like this 11. And vertically also, when you scroll down, it shows you M1, M2, M3, M4 like this. But if you see here, it has a pre-annotated ebook. So I clicked on this and the soft version will appear. This is the ebook. first page, audit 1, audit reports, and it is showing those 11 modules. You can simply use your, from the keyboard, the upward and the downward arrows to scroll up and down, right? Or you can use the page up, page down to scroll up and down, right? So the entire ebook is here. And you simply click on this cross to close it. Do we get proportionate marks? Yes, Ashish, you get proportionate marks. So if in a particular simulation there are, let's say, 7 rows, you have done 6 rows correct and 1 row wrong, then you will get proportionate, 6 marks out of 7. Right? Let's say if each carried 1 mark, you will get 6 out of 7. We can't download the soft copy. No, you can't download it. You can't download it. There's no negative marking, correct? Neha, there's no negative marking. So that is why it is important that you attempt all the questions. Don't leave out anything, right? Even if you don't know the answer, let's say, still give it, like give some answer. Give it a, like, even if it is a guess, right? Attempt it. Don't leave it, because if your guess turns out to be correct, you will get marks, right? But if you leave it, you will not get anything. Mohit, we can't download. No, we can't. Indu, which feature is the premium one? The final review. Final review is when you apply for a premium package, I think. Why is it marked? What is marked? So Alam, can you please specify? Okay, Ashish, asking within 1 row itself. No, Ashish, within 1 row, if all the cells are not correct, it will not be treated as the right this thing. It will, like, basically you will not get marks. Your entire row has to be correct, then you will get marks. Okay. For every TBS, it is like this. Yes. All right. Any other question? There are underlining the book. Underlining, yes, there are underlining in the book for basically for important things, important points, like these. Yeah. So there are some underlinings, there are some words written over here. See, this is just for, so basically the important things have been highlighted, and like some things have been explained also, like non-issuer, right? Like non-issuer is a private company, issuer is a public company, right? So those kind of things. So it's actually very helpful, the pre-annotated book, right? Your physical hard book does not have these underlinings, right? These underlines and these words over here, the notes, your physical book does not have it. The software has it. So it's a good idea to go through the software book also, the soft copy also, and you can do these, in your hard copy also. Okay. Mohit, based on explanation, even if we score 75% basis other performance, we may not pass the exam. What do you mean by that? Others performance? Yes. Basis other, you mean other students? Yes. Basis other students performance, you may not pass because it is a percentile system. Yes. So by the way, like I said, 75% does not mean you have scored 75%. Like that is not your marks. 75 means you are in the 75th percentile. That means you are in the top 25 percentile. Actually, 76 up from 76 to 100 is basically the top 25 percentile. Right? So yeah, it is not your marks. You may have got 80, but when you get the result, it will show you 76. Or it can be the opposite also. You have scored 70 marks, but the result is showing 75, because even with 70, you are in the top 25 percentile. So it depends on how other people have performed. And that's a very valid observation, because let me tell you, sometimes what happens is when the papers are tough, students feel that, it was a tough paper, I will not clear it. But on the contrary, when it is a tough paper, then most people will do it badly. So even if you have done it reasonably okay, you will clear it, because most people have done it really bad. It was a tough paper. So, a tough paper is actually not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. If you are well prepared, then it's a good thing, because most people will do it bad. You will do it better than them. You will be in the top 25 percentile. Okay. I wanted to clarify that whether any session for 2024 changes in CPA course was conducted. So yes, we had one webinar, if I remember correctly, long time back. I think in 2021, we conducted this webinar. We just updated the students that some changes are going to happen in 2024. Nothing more than that. And like I said, even we did not have much information about the changes at that time. The only thing we knew was that there are some technology related topics that is going to be introduced, and the impacted subjects would be audit and BEC. There would not be much impact in FAR and Reg, but there would be an impact on the audit and the BEC papers. But that's all. That's all we knew at that time. And the moment we get to know anything more about it, we will let you know. Don't worry. And 2024 is, you should not even look at 2024. You should think of becoming a CPA by June, July 2023. I'm just saying that, of course, depends on your schedule and everything, but you should target June, July 2023. Then maybe by October, November, you will become, right? In 12 months time, you should become a CPA, right? If not, God forbid, if that does not happen, then of course, we will let you know well in advance, what changes are going to happen in 2024, the moment we get to know, right? And like I said, it is technology related things, topics that are going to be introduced, which is good even for your career point of view. So whether CPA, introduces certain things or not is a different matter, but even for your career, those are good courses to go through. So you can enroll already, now only you can enroll yourself for, for these basic programming or RPA or data analytics kind of courses, right? Just for your career point of view, I'm saying. CPA exam point of view, whatever happens, we'll let you know. Okay, Ashish. So guys, any further questions before I actually get into the material? And let me, one last thing. Let me quickly tell you that A1 has 11 modules, A2 has 9 modules, okay, then 10, 10, 8, and 9. So total there are 57 modules in audit, 6 chapters and 57 modules, right? So your endeavor should be, the first time is like, give 1 day to each module. I'm saying revision, like when you revise, is give 1 day to one module. So 57 days you should be done with your first revision. And that is also, like I'm saying, on the higher side, like 1 day to one module, like 57 days to cover the entire syllabus. It's actually on the higher side. But okay, fine. First time you may take that much. but slowly you have to reduce this time, and eventually you will have to reach a stage where you are able to complete one round of revision in 6 days. That means one chapter in one day, one entire chapter A1 in one day, A2 in one day, A3 in one day. That means you will need 6 days to revise the entire syllabus, and even that should be brought down to 3 days, which is like just before the exam. You should be able to cover the entire syllabus in 3 days, right? Because if you are working, let's say you don't have leave, you will only have, let's say, Thursday off. You take Thursday off, you take Friday off, you take Saturday, you take the exam on Saturday, right? So that means Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days you take off from office and you sit for the exam on Saturday, right? So 3 days you have to finish the syllabus, unless you can afford to take more off, in which case, you can afford to finish it in 6 days, right? But more than a week, I'm sure you will not get, because every quarter, if you are taking one exam, every quarter you will have to take 1 week off, right? And by the way, audit has 6, but other subjects have even more. FAR has 10 chapters. So if you take 1 day per chapter, you will take 10 days off for FAR, right? So you have to basically reduce it to such a level that you are able to finish the entire syllabus in, like, you're able to do half a chapter. You're able to do 2 chapters in one day, right? 2 chapters in one day, 2 chapters in one day, 2 chapters in one day, like that. So that means for audit, you will need minimum 3 days. For FAR, you will need minimum 5 days because it has 10 chapters. Then you will need, for reg, you will need 4 because it has 8. And Beck you will need 3 because it has 6, right? 6 chapters, 10, 8 and 6 total. There are 30 chapters in the entire syllabus. So you will need 15 days for revision, but of course this you can space it out, depending on when you are taking the exams, right? So let me not go into all the other subjects. Just for audit also, if I say, you will need 3 days, but to reach this, you have to do a lot of effort, right? Now, how you should approach it, let's spend just 2-3 minutes on that. And then, if time permits, we'll get started. Otherwise, it looks like we will have to start from next class only. So very quickly, let's spend this on how you should approach this subject. And so A1 has, let's say, 11 modules, right? Then A2 has about 9 modules. A3 has 10 modules. A4 has 10 modules. A5 has 8 modules. A6 has 9 modules. This is your entire syllabus. Now, what is going to happen is, we are going to do the class. We are going to cover every module in the class. So you attend the classes, whether live or recorded, that's your choice. But you basically look at all the videos, right? You cover your entire syllabus here with me, live or recorded. Everything done. Now, while we are taking the classes, let's say if on Saturday I cover 2 modules or 3 modules, Sunday I cover another 2 or 3 modules. That means every week we are going to cover 4 to 6 modules, depending on the size of the module, right? 4 to 6 modules every week we are going to cover. Let's say I'm also going to do MCQs with you, right? I'm on MCQs. I'll do almost side by side, right? Not absolutely side by side. I'll give you time to revise it. Like if I cover 2 modules on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, I'll give you 1 week to revise these 4 modules. And maybe next week I will do MCQs of that, right? So we'll do MCQs here, but obviously I can't do all the MCQs with you. There are, more than 1,000 MCQs or maybe more than 1,500 MCQs. So it is not possible, right? We have limited time. I have to cover the entire syllabus. It's a vast syllabus. I have 108 hours to cover the syllabus with you. Okay, including MCQs and SIMs, right? If amendments happen, then maybe we'll have separate classes for amendments. But just to cover the course, 108 hours to cover all the 57 modules plus MCQs of 57 modules plus simulations, wherever simulations are there. Simulations are not there in every module, but wherever they are there, to cover that. Now, it is not possible to cover all MCQs and all simulations, right? So just to give you an idea of how difficult those MCQs are, I'm going to cover 10 to 15 MCQs, let's say, from each topic. And if the topic is small, there are, like we saw in the software right now, module 1 has only 9 questions, module 2 has only 6 questions, something like that. So if the topic is small, then the MCQs will be less. In that case, we can cover all the 9 and all the 6. But if the topic is big and there are, let's say, 50 MCQs in that topic, I'm going to cover only probably 10 out of the 50. 40 you will have to practice at home. That is number one. But what is important, the approach is that once you have attended the class and I have covered 4 to 6 modules during the week, you have to go through these 4 to 6 modules on your own during the week, during that week, so that next week again I will cover another 4 to 6 modules. So if you don't do it along with me, right? If you don't do it along with me, then you will fall sort of, you will not be able to catch, understand the the next topics, because they are all kind of linked and related to each other, right? So you will fall back and it will keep piling on. Finally, from our classes point of view, we'll get over with audit, but you would not have done the revision. Then it will become very difficult for you to start and do the revision all on your own. Right now, while the classes are going on, if you revise, if you have any questions, you can ask me. That momentum is there. You can ask me. I will, reply to those queries. Right? Once that momentum is lost, then it will be difficult for you. I'm saying from your point of view, right? It will be difficult for you to catch up. So please try and revise along with the classes. So this, I'm calling it as revision number 1. You are doing it along with the classes. And you do the MCQs. Let me write here on top. You do the MCQs of those topics. Maybe once I have done with you in the class, then after that you can try the remaining. If I have done 10 with you, then you do the remaining 40. Okay, if there are 50 in it, not before that. But what is more important is, before you even start trying the MCQs, you must go through the book so thoroughly that even after closing the book, you should be able to recollect what was there in that module, right? The key points. I'm not saying like, not like rote learning that you have to remember by heart, line by line, not that, but the key points, right? That what all topics were there in, let's say, A1, M1. It had professional, I'm saying because obviously you don't know. So it has professional standards, and it has the gas hierarchy. So in professional standards, what did it talk about? It spoke about these 5 points. This is applicable in this situation. This is applicable in this situation. This is applicable. So, without looking at the book, if like this, and the gas hierarchy, from the most authoritative to the least authoritative, what was the hierarchy? If you are able to recollect it without looking at the book, that means you are ready to attempt the MCQs. If you are not able to recollect, then you are not ready for the MCQs. Okay. So remember, just reading it is not enough. You have to also recollect the key points. And even after doing that, and see what happens is, I'm just telling you from a student psychology point of view, that if you are trying to recollect the points, okay, professional standards has these points. Now you can remember 3, you can't remember the other 2. You just can't remember the other 2. Student psychology, what students normally do is, They can't remember, they immediately open the book and look at the points, because your mind is not at rest. You want to see why, what am I, why I can't recall. So don't do that. You put pressure on your brain, like exercise your brain, try to think what were the other 2 points, what were the other 2 points, what were the other 2 points. And if after trying very, very hard also, if you can't remember, then finally you will have to open the book and see, right? But don't do it immediately. First try on your own. Like, sincerely, I'm saying try on your own, that I just read the chapter, why can't I remember, right? Let me think, what was the other point, what was the other point. Give it a hard try, and still if you can't remember, then go and see in the book what other points you missed. But the point is, you should reach a stage where you are able to recollect without looking at the book, then you are ready for the MCQs. Now, even after doing it so well that you are able to recollect the points, right? That means you have done it pretty well. Even after that, first time you will get only in the range of 50 to 55%. I'm talking about an average student. An average student gets 50 to 55% in the first attempt, right? That means if in these 11 modules, if there are altogether, if there are 100 questions, you will get 50 or 55 correct. You will get 45 to 50 wrong. Okay. Now is the most important step which most students skip. Please hear me out. This is the most important step. If you skip this, then it will be very difficult for you to score high marks. Passing is fine. High marks, difficult if you skip this step. What you need to do is, once you have done the MCQs and you have scored 50, 55, that means you have got 40 questions wrong, 45, 50 questions wrong. You should not go to the next, next module, right? If you have scored, let's say this one, there are 9 questions, you got 5 right, 4 wrong. Okay. You should not go to the next testlet, next module and start doing those MCQs. What you should do is, you should go back to M1. Go back to M1 and see why I scored, why I, got these 4 wrong. And naturally, when you revise this module one more time, you are going to focus on the areas where you got the answers wrong. That's a normal human tendency, right? So you will focus on those areas where you got the answers wrong, and that will solidify your preparation. Because 5 you already had right, 4 you had wrong, and now this time you have focused more on those areas, and therefore you have solidified your concepts. This step is extremely important. Most students skip it. So all this, I'm calling it as revision 1, right? After the class, you go through the module so well that you can close the module and still recollect the points, then go through the MCQs. You score 50, 55%, you go back to the module and look at it one more time. All this I'm covering under revision 1. This is your round 1 happening. Okay. Like this, along with me, you cover the entire syllabus, right? You cover the entire syllabus along with the classes. All the MCQs, in all the MCQs, right, you will score about 50, 55, 60. If you are scoring more than that, then that's great. That's a good news. If you are scoring less than that, then that means you are attempting the questions before reading the module properly. Okay. Now this way you have completed 1 round. Now, once you have completed 1 round, you can probably switch to another subject. You can do 1 round of FAR like this, or whatever, Beck, whichever subject. You can alternate between 2 subjects, but not before this. This is 1 round which happened here. Then this is the point where you can alternate with another subject. You can go to that subject and do 1 round of that subject like this. Once you have done with that, and let's say that takes you 15 days to do that or 20 days to do that, then come back to this subject, audit, and do your revision 2. In revision 2, again, you go through the module, but this time If first time 5 pages took you 5 hours to sort of, to capture it well, this time it is going to take you probably only 2 hours. So it will be much, much faster, much, much faster. Go through the modules quickly and then do the MCQs again. Okay. Revision 2. This time when you do the MCQs, you will see that you are scoring anywhere between 65 to 75 or even 80, right? Or maybe 70 to 80, right? So first time it was 50 to 55. Second time it will improve to 70 to 80%. Like this, you cover the entire syllabus again. This time, like I said, it will be much faster, right? It will be much faster. Then you do the second round of that other alternate subject. Come back to this, you do your third revision. In the third revision, going through the module, probably not the entire module is required. You can just go through some highlighted portions of the module, right? You don't have to go through each and every line and word. Just go through the highlighted portions or the notes that you have made, right? The highlighted portions and the notes. And you can do the MCQs and of course the TBS. So TBS you can do in the second round also. You can do the TBS in the second round also. But because it is the first time you're doing TBS, you will get 50-55 in TBS. So you would get 70-80 in MCQ, but you will get 50-55 in TBS. In revision 3, you again do TBS and MCQs. This time in MCQs, you will score 90 and above, 90 plus, right? And finally, revision 4. Revision 4, you don't need to do all MCQs because you have already scored 90 plus. You can just look at the marked ones, but you need to do all the TBSs because first round TBS, you got 50-55. Second round TBS, you got 70 to 80. Third round TBS, you will score 90 plus in TBS also. Fourth. So basically third round of TBS, but overall fourth round, you will get 90 plus in TBS also. So now you have scored 90 plus in both MCQs and TBS. That means you are ready for the exam, right? This is what I meant to say when I said 90 plus at home. 90 plus in TBSs, 90 plus in MCQs. That means you are ready for the exam. Not before that. Not before that. And it will take you, typically it takes 4 rounds for an average student. If you are above average, then maybe you will reach 90 in 3 rounds. Maybe you will reach 90 in 2 rounds. If you are extremely intelligent and really, really good at studies, you may reach 90 in 2 rounds. If that is the case, you can take the exam after 2 rounds of revision only. That is why, when you asked how much time, I said, I don't have an answer to that. It depends on you. But what I have an answer is you should score 90 at home, whether you reach in 2 months or in 3 months or in 4 months, whether you reach after 2 rounds or 3 rounds or 4 rounds is totally up to you. Is that clear? Okay, so yeah, let me see the questions. So Mohit is saying, overall good session, getting insights. Okay, thanks Mohit. That's good to know that, this was helpful. Alam is saying, if someone cannot clear all the papers before 2024, will it be under the new curriculum of 2024? Should we sit for the exam for other additional papers added in 2024? No, additional papers will not be added. Papers will remain 4 only, but they will change the curriculum in those papers, right? So audit will have new topics introduced, right? Or Beck will have new topics introduced. So yeah, if you have not cleared audit by 2024, then you will have to, whatever is the change at that time, you'll have to take audit as per that syllabus. Okay, Alam. Lipika, those who are preparing FAR subject side by side, yeah, those who are preparing FAR, Lipika, can alternate between audit and FAR. But like I said, you have to follow this regime, right? You have to really follow this, that you do 1 round of proper revision of audit, do the MCQs, then go and do proper revision of FAR and do the MCQs. And in both you will score about 50-55, then come to second round here, second round there, third round here, third round there, like that. Or, you know, it's totally up to you actually. Or you can, you know, after doing 2 rounds of both the subjects, then you may just want to focus on one, take that paper and do the remaining 2 rounds of revision of that other subject later, right? So basically what I mean is, you do round 1 of audit, round 1 of FAR, round 2 of audit, round 2 of FAR. Then you decide which one you want to sit. If you want to sit for FAR first, do revision, you know, third round of FAR and fourth round of FAR, one after the other, sit for the FAR exam, then come back to audit again, right? So you can do that also. I'm preparing for FAR alongside live lectures for audit. What approach would you suggest for preparation? The same approach. Asim, I would suggest the same approach that I just discussed, right? So, like I said, you know, do the FAR revision, do the MCQs of FAR, do 1 round, then come to audit, do 1 round, and like that. Of course, you need not finish like completely, you know, you need not complete 1 round of FAR and then come to audit. You can also do, maybe you do 1 chapter of audit, then do 1 chapter of FAR, just to break that monotony. You can do 1 chapter of audit, 1 chapter of FAR, then again second chapter of audit, second chapter of FAR, like that also you can do. What is important is that you go through these rounds. Important, right? When you do it before FAR, after FAR, along with FAR, that's your choice. But what my main focus of this discussion is that you have to go through these 3 or 4 rounds of revision to achieve 90 plus at home. That is the main focus of this discussion. You can do it along with other subjects. If you can manage the time, you can do. There's no problem. Okay. Arjun, in this manner, sir, revision itself would take a lot of time and you're suggesting us to clear all papers in 1 year itself. Yes, Arjun. Again, I am saying it depends from person to person, how much time a person can devote. It all depends on that, right? Why 1 year? People have cleared all the 4 exams in 6 months also, right? I have given you that example already. In fact, there was a girl, not our student, not my student. She was from Chennai. She was working with Infosys. She was a chartered accountant. She cleared the entire CPA, like all the 4 papers in 4 months. It was almost like a record that in 4 months she became a CPA, right? So everything is possible. It all depends on how much time you're able to give, right? There are all sorts of examples. People have cleared in 4 to 6 months also. People take 4 to 6 years also. It depends on you, how much time you can devote, right? I'm not blaming anyone. People who are taking 6 years, I'm not blaming them. Maybe their life situation is such, their work life, their commitment towards work is such, or family commitment or whatever, they probably are, they have certain life situation that they are going through. I'm not going into personal details here. It's absolutely to every person to, based on his or her situation, you have to determine, right? My assumption is that if you have enrolled for this course, that means you have time, right? You are an ambitious person. You want to upskill your career. You have the time. That is why you have opted for this course, right? So if you have time and still you are not utilizing that time properly, then I have a problem. But if you are really too busy, then of course it is justifiable, right? What can I say? It is justifiable. But if you have time and still you are not availing it, then it's an unfortunate thing, right? So whatever time you have right now, if you have enrolled for this course, that means you only signed up for it. Nobody forced you to do it, right? So if you have signed up for something, if you are committed to something, then dedicate your time to that and get done with it, right? That's my only suggestion. So every minute that you get, you should spend on studying, right? That is my only intention. The intention is only to motivate you, not to demotivate you, right? There is no harm even if you take more than 12 months, even if you take 18 months to clear, as long as you become a CPA, it's a good news for all of us, right? So take your time. but don't waste your time, is what I'm trying to say. Take your time. If it takes 18 months, take 18 months, but at least do it in 18 months, right? Thank you, Subramaniam, for that feedback. Thank you, Indu. Lipika also, thank you. Can you please shift the class timing? So see, majority of people are saying that this is a good time, 7 to 11. At least Ashish, for now, we'll continue. Yes, if the majority of students feel like, winters are approaching, I understand, waking up at 7 is a difficult task, and I have to wake up even before that. So if possible, we will definitely, if majority of students say, and if it is possible, we'll definitely look into it. But right now, today's class, most of the students said that this is a good timing, 7 to 11. So let's stick to this timing for now. Okay, Ashish? Urja, in case we are scoring 90 in audit at home without going through FAR lectures, it is recommended to proceed. Well, if you are scoring 90, then please go ahead. Please go ahead, right? Without looking at FAR, if you are scoring 90 at home, yes, you can schedule your exam. Okay. Asim, most welcome. Arjun, most welcome. And Chaitali, 7 to 11 is perfect. Please don't change. Fine. Please don't change. Good time. Yes. So people in the US, Canada, Mexico, I know this is a good time for you. Manageable time. Otherwise, it will get very late for you. But other than that, also even Indian students who are in India are also saying that this is a good time. Morning time, your mind is fresh. So it's actually good. So yeah, so we'll continue with this time, at least for the moment. Then we will see. Let's do 2 or 3 weekends, and then let's see, how it shapes up. So guys, thank you for the patience, for listening in, to all these discussions. I hope it was fruitful and helpful. And next class, we will start off with the subject. Okay. And in the next class, please have A4 sheets with you. Okay, A4 sheets, and possibly 2 types of, either 2 pens or 1 pen and 1 pencil. If you have 2 pens, then different colors, maybe 1 blue, 1 red, or 1 black and 1 red, whatever, have sheets of paper, A4 sheets, and 2 pens or 1 pen and a pencil. Okay, I will try and give out some notes in every class. Okay, so for that, I'm asking ready so that you can also take down the notes. Okay. So if there are no further questions, we will end the class now. It's time. Yes, Ashish, I got that message. I will do that. So I have to actually prepare it. So this week I will prepare it and I'll share with you, like with all of you. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on Saturday. Okay. I'll see you on Saturday. And for the US people, it will be, I think, Friday evening. Right. So I'll see you on Saturday morning, guys. Bye. 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 You can log out. I'll stay for another 2-3 minutes. I have to just note. So you guys can log out. Class is over from my side. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.